disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Hello, welcome everybody to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friends, the BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a good one for you. For once, we're going to be talking about the upcoming fights that will be taking place on Saturday. That's right, there's two events, at least two events that I know of. We've got boxing on the BT or whatever you call it over there in England, and here it's going to be ESPN between Zhang and Joyce, a rematch for the heavyweight extravaganza. Then we've got Cepeda, the old veteran Jose Cepeda, taking on a young and up-and-coming fighter in Hitchinson. We'll see what happens in that one. We also have Amo Williams, I believe. He's fighting on that one as well. That's another guy to keep your eye on. So there's a lot of boxing going on. We're also going to be talking about in this episode about the fights that took place yesterday in the land of the rising sun, Japan, Kenshiro Teraji, and we also had Nakatani fighting, Junto Nakatani fighting. So it's going to be a good one, fellas, and we're going to be opening up the phone lines near the end of the hour, so you guys can call in, let us know what you thought about everything, and some of your predictions perhaps for this Saturday as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that one. Now, before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. Although it's better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. The most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, all right? Don't forget you can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, at your leisure. All right, fellas, give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Wayne Fitness, Sam Rando, Cal L, Grim Reaper, Reverend Pickles, Super Sardonic, Don Chile Relleno, Alejandro Marquez, J. Colt, who else we got here? Super Sardonic, Hardcore, J. Cole, Dark, Hey Dog in the house, Shadow Combat, Timothy Figueroa, Arm, SSC in the house, shout out to SSC, Jack, the Code of Fan, Nuff, Protectorate General, many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us, really appreciate it. All right, let's get down to business here. Like I said, we got Zhilei Zhang taking on Joyce this Saturday via England. And it's going to be an interesting one, fellas. The rematch, a lot of people, I mean, in the first one, if I remember correctly, a lot of people were picking Joyce. And I was tilted a little bit towards Joyce. But I remember thinking, this ain't the fight for him to just take any old shot like he's accustomed to. And wouldn't you know it, his face ended up getting busted up. And they ended up having to stop the fight. I see we've got Gonzalo, a.k.a. The Guns. We got Recognized, and we got Boxing Chief dropping by. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Who wants to go first for this fight? What were your thoughts on the first fight and what might happen in the rematch?
Gonzo, go ahead, please.
Hey, I called the shots.
Okay, the rematch.
No, hold on. Hold on. I called the shots. Chief, you go first. No, I'm kidding. Gonzalo, you go.
Go ahead, Chief.
No,
Please
you go,
forgive me,
Gonzalo.
sir.
You go. It's kidding around. Man.
So I
Come on.
just watched. I
Gonzalo's
just
got a
watched the
better
first
insight
fight.
on this one than I do, so I was going to let him
I
go
watched the
first.
first fight. Just finished. I did
What
my homework.
kind of a show are you
Gotta
guys
prepare
putting on here
for these
today?
shows. So I watched the first fight, and you know, Zhang was actually bigger than Joyce. The narrators were calling Joyce a juggernaut, and the other guy were calling him an 18-wheeler. So Zhang is actually bigger. So before you could say that Joyce was having his way because he was the bigger man against other opponents, but against Zhang early, Joyce is a slow starter, so he can absorb his punches. And the thing would happen that right off the bat in the first round, Zhang landed a left and slightly wobbled Joyce. Then he busted up his eye as early as the first round, and in the second round, he actually buckled his legs. So by the end of the sixth round, when they got stopped, I had Zhang winning all the rounds except maybe the fifth, where he took a little break to catch a second wind, and we know that he tends to like slow down and tire out. This is Zhang. So this is a story of like maybe two halves how this can play out. If Zhang doesn't show up in shape, he's gonna tire down the stretch, and then that's when Joyce tends to pick it up. But if he shows up in shape like he did the first fight, then this is when Joyce is slow, and he'll have a hard time dealing with Zhang's quick left hand. And it's not just a straight; he can loop it around like a left hook, and he can also go downstairs with it. And sometimes he'll even throw a right hook. So the dude is deceptively quick. I'm talking about the 18-wheeler, Zhang. So it's a tale of two stories in regards to like who wins the first half or the second half. If Joyce can make it out of the first half without not taking so much damage, and he can actually tire out the bigger man, which is oddly enough, this guy's actually bigger, then he can actually start racking up the rounds in the second part. In the second half, this is Joyce. But I figure, in my opinion, I think that the same thing is going to be hard for Joyce to deal with those straight lefts. He's going to catch him because he's deceptively quick, like I mentioned. And I think he'll rack up maybe 3-4 rounds, and then he'll at least win two if not three of the second half. So
Gonzalo, did we lose you or? Is everybody still there?
Zhang wins again.
All right. Listen, because I thought I don't know if it was my internet or yours, but I lost you for 2 seconds. But yeah, man, I mean, it's the first half thing. It's Joyce is accustomed to that's always been his game. Yeah, you can hit me. Sometimes I'll even let you hit me, but I'm gonna keep poking you with my jab. Couple of little shots here and there, which aren't so little because or so insignificant because it's a 200+ pound guy with a 6'6" frame. So he starts wearing guys down. Dubois had the size to compete against Joyce. He just didn't have the wherewithal or the knowledge. Zhang, I'll just say this before anybody else goes. If you watch the Joyce fight, the first one, once he started getting a little tired, because he does take a lot for him. At 40 years of age, by the way, he's 40 years old. No spring chicken. It takes a lot for him to explode the way he does with his shots. But nevertheless, when Joyce started trying to put it on him, Zhang would do a good job of trying to smother Joyce. He would get real close to him, and no clinching, by the way. Or there was some clinching, but whenever he would do what I'm talking about, he would just get close to him and smother him. And all of a sudden, those Joyce taps lost some of their power. So he's a smart guy. It seems like he can weather the storm. And like Gonzalo says, that first half is going to be crucial because that's when he's going to have to get the bulk of his work done to build a lead and be able to offset Joyce's late charge if it gets to that point in the fight. What does everyone else think? We got Chief, we got Recognize. You guys want to comment on this fight? Well, I'll say this.
Yeah. Go ahead, BJ.
Well, no, you go ahead, man. I was waiting for one of you guys to jump in.
Well, look, I didn't watch the fight. I just watched the highlights. You know, I haven't been watching much fights lately, but I'm gonna probably watch that whole fight maybe tonight. What it seemed like to me was that Joyce does get hit a lot in fights, but he was getting hit by Zhang is a southpaw, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that also played a factor too. And like you said, he's a guy just as big as him. I think Gonzalo said he's probably a slightly bigger man than him too. And so he was catching him with good shots, and it fucked up his eye, right? And then they ended up stopping the fight. I do agree that Zhang does tire out second half of the fight. So Joyce has a good shot of winning the rematch. He does. Just because of that simple fact. We know that Joyce's stamina is probably better than Zhang from what we can, well, at least what I can tell from their fights. But he's just gotta he's gotta do something about those those getting hit with those big shots early if he doesn't want his eye to fuck up again. Now I never understood what happened to him after that. Was it? Did he suffer anything? Was it a broken orbital bone or what? Or just a bad black eye? What was it?
Yeah, I don't think it was a. Well, first of all, okay, before I answer that, because I'm going to search for the exact post-fight or aftermath of that, but they stopped it because he couldn't see shit, apparently. That was the main thing. So
okay,
he would
maybe it was a big.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a bad black eye, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so if he could stay away from that, he wins the fight, in my opinion. I think he can win if he takes him into the later rounds. I think the first 6 rounds is going to be trouble for him. If he doesn't get fucked up and damaged where his eye is swollen and the referee's got to step in and they're going to stop the fight, I think the second half will be Zhang's demise because of his size, which Joyce is not too far behind, but I think he's just better condition than he is. It could be the style, the way they fight too.
Could definitely be that. Chief, you want to go ahead? If you got any thoughts on this fight?
Well, like I recognize, I didn't catch the whole first fight and never really saw the need until now to realize to go back and watch the whole thing in entirety. So I'll do that. But from what I know about both fighters, and given my knowledge on both of these guys are somewhat limited because I don't really follow these two individuals that much. They've never really been at a level to where you're like, okay, this is the next guy that so-and-so is going to fight for the title. Because there's really only been like 2 to 4 heavyweights that have mattered in the past 5 years. And neither one of these two guys are those 4 heavyweights. So having said that, not to discredit them, this is still going to be an important fight because now they're 2 of the last guys standing outside of the belt holders. So having led that to the build-up, what's going to happen from here is most of us on this panel are at least the age of 40 or older. I know that Recognize and I are close to the same age, and BDA, I know that you're eternally youth, but, you still know that
right.
Age person drain faster and recharge slower. So all the points we're making, I stand by on the fact that Zhang, if he's not well ahead and done significant damage like he did in the first fight, Joyce is going to come with a smarter game plan, and he's going to reserve some energy for later like he usually does. For some reason, for a guy of his age, because he's not young either, he's in his late 30s. But for some reason, he has a gas tank to where he can pour it on late. He survives the early onslaught. Zhang's going to think that he can really bust this guy up. He's got the confidence. So if he goes, I predict he's going to start fast, try and capitalize twice. But I think that that Joyce is going to find a way to defend himself a little bit more, whether it's with some more foot movement, keeping his hands out a little wide like Kashizu would to block or parry shots on the outside so he doesn't get his clean. I don't know how exactly he's going to do it, but I have a feeling this is his game plan. Protect the face so nothing bruises up so he can come on late when Zhang's going to wear out, and that's going to be his game plan. That's how I think it should fold out, but we know I've been wrong before.
Well, I tell you what, this is a bad style matchup for Joyce. I had an inkling that it was going to be like that prior to the first fight, and then it just confirmed my intuition because, and I've said it before, it bears repeating here, when you got a guy who's slow, but whose output is voluminous, and his stamina is top-notch, and he's got a hard chin, iron chin. Usually those guys, their approach is, okay, I'm just going to keep putting pressure, and yeah, you'll hit me with your big shots, but as soon as you hit me with your big shot, 3 or 4, 7 slower shots are coming at you, but they're going to hurt, they're going to sting, and lay down the fight, they're going to wear you down. That's what he does. But that kryptonite for that type of style is speed plus power, and we're talking overwhelming power. Now Dubois had a little bit of that power, but as we saw in the Usyk fight, he likes the resolve to fully commit. Zhang doesn't have that. Zhang has an excellent amateur pedigree. He knows how to use his size. A little bit like George Foreman, if you will, an old George Foreman. His defense is essentially just parrying shots and deflecting them and using his bulk to remain an immovable object, a little bit like Joyce. Now, Joyce also has been an amateur, or was an amateur for a while, silver medalist. But again, his style was always, I'm going to overwhelm you, and hopefully that makes up for my technical or defensive liabilities. It cost him against Joyce. And he was coming off on a little bit down the before that fight was stopped, but his weight, even for a heavyweight, he's slow. I was rewatching that Zhang fight when he would go in there and throw an awful left hook right within Zhang's range, and he's there with his guard wide open, slapping with that left, not moving the head, not even trying to block the shot, and he would get clean with a big left hand. And like Gonzalo said, this time those shots were hurting him. So when, like I said, when you've got the type of style of Joyce, whose style is dependent on, hey, you can't hurt me, and all of a sudden you start seeing him hurt early, you go, oh boy, he better pray that the other guy tires, or he better start developing some defense. So in this one, he still has, I think, Ismail Salas in his corner, unless I'm mistaken. He's a smart cookie. Everybody loves to sing his praises. So you would expect a guy like Joyce and Salas to maybe make some changes in this fight, because if they don't, that's a problem. Also, I may say one last thing. If that face is able to withstand the damage this time, that's a plus for Joyce. A definite plus. There's hope. But those type of shots that Zhang is hitting him with, they'll hurt anybody down the line. So I don't know. He has to tighten up that defense.
Yeah, BDA, and especially once again, he got hurt early with the left hand. He got hurt in the first round. I busted up. Second round, knees buckled. So Joyce is slow, but I saw that he had a hard time getting his distance on the bigger man. So he was kind of frustrating himself, trying to like find his range, and all the while, Zhang was catching him. He's catching him because he's longer, he's bigger. Bob, you can't get my range. I can't get my distance on you. You can't get your distance on me, but I can on you. And it only took a few shots. And did you see when the rounds ended, how he was like smiling? The dude was laughing like, you can't hurt me, because he's slow. He's bigger. He's absorbing the shots where he's hurting others. He's not doing the same to the bigger man. He's just eating them shots up. So I know he wears you down the stretch, but early on, they're not really like hurting this guy because he's hydrated. He's huge. So he's eating those shots up, and he's smiling at the end of the round. Basically, I had him winning 5 rounds out of the 6, man.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, there was a point where you started thinking, okay, Joyce is starting to come on strong. He's going to get something done. But before that could even happen, his liabilities cost him. His face was all busted up. I would have liked to have seen it continue, even with that eye. And I think Joyce might have agreed, although he didn't complain too much as soon as they stopped the fight. So, but you know what's interesting though about this? Like Chief said, Joyce is no spring chicken. He's 38 years old. Zhang, a little older, 40 years of age. Nevertheless, that's how, Joyce, there was a lot of hope for him. Because when he beat Dubois, Joshua still had his titles. And so the thinking was, whoa, Joyce can beat him. And I still think that he's got the style that would give Joshua hell. But now Joshua is no longer that. In fact, some people see him as a declining fighter. And so Joyce, now with that loss, all of a sudden that promise is gone. Of course, if he wins this rematch, that goes back up. But even then, you get a 38-year-old and a 40-year-old who have been able to excel. I mean, Zhang got robbed against Hrgovic. So you're thinking, wait a minute, is this the best at this division? I think that to me is indicative of how overrated this heavyweight division is. Okay, yeah, you got Usyk. He's long in the tooth too. Fury, now he's saying that he doesn't even really want to box that much anymore. Wilder, again, 37 years old. Or I think he's about to be 37. Joshua, he looks like a puppy compared to these guys in terms of age, but even he's been to the ringer a couple of times. Who knows where he's at mentally. Zhang, 40. Luis, I think he's 34? Maybe a little younger? I don't even know. Luis Ortiz.
Luis is like, 35.
35. And I know this is a heavyweight division, but I'm just saying, the fact that these two guys, Zhang and Joyce, can cause so many problems in this division, despite their advanced age, just goes to show you that this heavyweight division a little overrated, a little bit, maybe not that much.
How old is Ortiz, PDA?
He's got to be 65 at this point, but
At least 50.
70. I mean, yeah, maybe he's even older than that. You know, the Cubans. You know, they genetically.
You know,
gifted.
they say Frank Sanchez is like 30. You believe that, BD?
Yeah, right.
No,
Yeah,
I
right.
don't believe that, man. But I tell you this though, if I was rewatching that Hrgovic versus
I
Zhang
think he
fight,
took his son. I think he took his oldest son's birth certificate. That's what I think.
yeah, that's his grandson's birthday, because even his son might be 55. I don't know, but you know, it's interesting though. I was rewatching the Zhang versus Hrgovic fight. Hrgovic is much faster than Joyce, faster combos, and even then, Zhang was out timing him. So this dude knows what he's doing. So you know that's why he looked like $1 million early on against Joyce. Hurting
Yeah,
him.
PDA. And what do you think? Also, I was watching the Rudenko fight versus Zhilei Zhang, and maybe he has a harder time against shorter men punching down, whereas opposed to like when you're sitting eye level and you're dropping that straight left. If you're Zhilei Zhang, you're more on target with that.
That's a great
I
point.
just noticed that maybe.
That's a great point. Yeah, his style, because he again when that's the other thing. So Zhang's style is nightmare fuel for Joyce, but the style that may be nightmare fuel for Zhang, like Gonzalo said, is a shorter guy, because Zhang is sort of he's a southpaw. He tries to do the cross arm thing a little bit, so that works better against taller fighters because he can just punch up. But if he's in that stance of his, it's a little harder to punch down on guys. And then plus he has to try to go look for them, go get them. Maybe a guy like Takam would actually be a guy that could beat him. I don't know, but or Chisora, although he's old too. So that's what we've got this coming Saturday, and of course after that fight, we'll talk more about what's next for both guys. So just get some predictions here, then official predictions. Gonzalo, how do you see this fight going, and who do you pick?
I'm picking Zhilei Zhang, and I'm just gonna give Joyce the benefit of the doubt that he survives. Whether they just allow the fight to continue, whether he's busted up or not, they're not just gonna like be okay. We're gonna call the fight off because this is probably like one of his last, if not the last opportunity, given he's 38 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna say he's gonna cover up a little better, but he's still gonna get busted up. He'll make it to the end, but he'll lose a split decision. And I'm gonna say Zhilei Zhang wins. Yes, a split decision, maybe 7 rounds to 5.
Do you think Joyce gets hurt in there again, stunned, rattled?
Yeah, because he's a slow starter. He's a slow starter, and Zhilei Zhang got that quick lift, and he can throw it up or down. I'm not saying that if he goes down, he's gonna hurt Joyce because he seems to be like pretty rotund. So I mean, those are heavyweights. It's hard to hurt a heavyweight to the body, in my opinion. But nevertheless, he's still changing levels, right? And he'll end up catching that dude with the straight left, and he can also throw like a right hook. But I'm just gonna say the straight left is gonna catch it, Joyce, because it's very quick, deceptively quick for a big guy. So he's still gonna bust him up, in my opinion, given that Joyce is a slow starter. And you could say, okay, he's a slow starter, but usually, like, he'll put hurt on other guys. But this guy's huge. He's gonna be able to absorb whatever Joyce is throwing, so he's gonna comfortably deal with the power, all the while catch Joyce because he's gonna be the quicker man early on.
Okay, so you're going split decision for Joyce. Anyone else want to make their prediction?
I got Joyce winning the rematch.
Oh.
I think he's gonna beat him on the scorecards. Yeah, I think he'll survive he'll learn from his experience in the first fight, survive the first half, and win win the second half, and like probably win a thin decision. He could stop. They could both stop each other. We already seen Zhang stop him. I do believe that Joyce could stop him as well, but it would have to be late. You know, it's going to be later because he's tired. You know, that kind of stoppage, where he knocks him down, maybe due to exhaustion or some shit like that.
Interesting.
Yes, I'm going with Joyce, but I'm going to say Joyce by split decision, majority decision. Majority.
Okay, come on. Okay, so we got split, we got majority.
know how we get specific, right? You know.
Yeah. So we got split, we got majority. What about you, Chief? You want to go no contest or just to spice it up? Or all right, Chief is a little busy right now. Well, listen,
I didn't hear you. I was just pulling in the driveway. I'm gonna pick Joyce by a late round knockout.
Nice.
Joyce by late fight knockout.
Yeah, I'm gonna just totally go off script and not think that he's gonna make complete adjustments. Learn from the first time, and share the fact that if he has any kind of boxing IQ, that this is how he's gonna implement ever trying to fight for a title. He's gonna avenge his loss this time. He'll get a late round knockout. And watch me be wrong.
Yeah, for some reason I don't know why I'm seeing Zhang actually scoring a stoppage this time. I don't know why, but it might be intuition, or it might just be I'm not thinking it through very well. I do think this is one prediction I will make. I think Joyce is gonna try to keep him at the end of his shots, no longer getting in so carelessly. With it, he's gonna be pretty mindful of when he's in Zhang's punching range. I still think Zhang has the faster hands, slightly faster hands, so I think that's gonna allow him to score the shots early on. I don't know. For some reason, it keeps popping in my mind. Zhang by stoppage, but I'm going to go with the safe pick. I'm going to go and say Zhang by decision. But just like I said before the first fight, I'm not that confident in the pick. I actually thought Joyce was probably going to pull it off, and then it didn't happen. So I don't know. I don't know how this could go on. But if Joyce cannot make any significant adjustments, he better hope that face of his holds up, because that's what cost him in the first fight. All right, well, let's talk about the card that took place last night. Excuse me, in the morning, yesterday, between Kenshiro Teraji and who was the guy? Heikki Butler, former titleist. I think.
Never heard of him.
Was that?
Never heard of them.
Well, anyway. Kenshiro Teraji retained his belt championship.
I'll just listen.
Why did you do that? But what was I going to say? Fuck. Oh, yeah. Well, he ended up winning by a 9th round stoppage. It was a good fight. It was competitive. Teraji was just his usual erratic self. It was in and out. Great body shots. I love how the Japanese remember to go to the body. And at 31 years of age, he is at his peak. Gonzalo, you want to go first for this fight, or?
Oh, it was a good couple. The 3 fights were good, especially the Kenshiro Teraji, Heikki Butler. What I liked about that fight, and the other one too, that the opponents showed up to fight. Heikki Butler had a good bounce in his step. I was like, man, this dude's coming to win. But that Kenshiro Teraji dude kept going to the body, not only to the liver, but with that right hand to the kidneys, and then to the pit of the stomach. Man, committed, and really like that killer instinct, knowing that once he got you hurt, he's going to go for the kill with both hands. And eventually he got the stoppage. So it was impressive. But all the while, Heikki Butler was like a light dog. He had that good movement. He was landing some punches every now and then. But, the other guy, what can you say? He was better. And he fought last year, right, in November. So he's been on a roll. I think he's undefeated. So good for him. Good fight.
Teraji last fought this year. He was supposed to fight La Bomba, and that got sidetracked. So, but he did fight, and he does have one loss against Yabuki, but he avenged that one. 31 years of age. He's at his peak at the peak of his powers. Very, very talented, in and out movement, speed, power. The things that I was worried for him were that guard, which wasn't too tight. Now he's tightened it up a little bit. He's more mindful of the punches coming. He was Heikki Butler at 35 years of age, I think, 34, 35, a little bit ancient for that weight division, junior flyweight. So it was what it was. But he, like Gonzalo said, he came to fight. There was even a round where he started moving around a lot, trying to give Teraji a taste of his own medicine. And he sort of threw Teraji off for a loop. But that's the thing, though. So in that division, we got La Bomba, the Puerto Rican southpaw, who's when Teraji fought Kuraguchi, he pulled a bit of an upset. I guess another Japanese guy, I forget his name, who was undefeated, tough, very strong. So Jonathan La Bomba Gonzalez, that's the fight that's probably next. I don't know, man. I still see Gonzalez is very tough, very durable and southpaw. He can move nonstop. But I still remember when Kosei Tanaka stopped him. But of course, Tanaka and Teraji, although they have some similarities, is still a different fighter. So Gonzalo, who would you pick between that one, La Bomba and Teraji?
To be honest, I cannot put a face to the name. I've seen him fight one time, but I cannot picture his fighting style.
He's a southpaw.
La Bomba,
he's
to
like
be honest.
A little bit like
Southpaw.
he fights a little bit like Lara. Just non-stop movement, 1-2, non-stop movement, 1-2.
Well, essentially be the same as Hickey Butler, but southpaw. No, this guy's. I mean, he's man, like he's on you with the feet, and he throws with both hands. Got the killer instinct. Once he smells blood, he's going for the kill. So these guys are warriors, man. I don't know if they got the same coach as Hey, actually, it's a Mexican coach. No, it's a Chicanitos coach.
I thought, well, yeah, that's the thing. Okay,
What is it?
yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's American. I mean, Mexican American, whatever you
No,
want to call
it's
it.
a Chicanito Hernandez's coach. I forget his name.
Wasn't that his brother-in-law, or am I mistaken?
Yeah, no, it's his brother. It's his brother.
Okay,
It's actually his brother.
Okay. Then how come his last name is Perez?
Yeah. Not sure about that, but
I'm
yeah,
being
okay.
mixed up,
So
maybe.
yeah, these guys are aggressive, man. So if you put a mover against this guy,
Well, hold
they're
on, hold on. Who
aggressive
you
and
well, hold on. You still talking about Teraji, or are you talking about Nakatani now?
yeah, Teraji's
Okay.
aggressive. He's got good footwork and he goes for the kill. So I can't quite put a name to La Bomba Gonzalez, but you say he's a southpaw, he's a mover. I would have to favor Teraji.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, just based on his performances. But you never know. Maybe Bomba pulls off an upset. We also had Junto Nakatani on the card, taking on Adji Cortez, who's the guy that gave Gallito Estrada some nightmares before Estrada ended up taking on Chocolatito and beating him. But nevertheless, against Estrada, Cortez gave him hell. He did go down because of a body shot, and this fight was it's competitive, but he got dropped 3 times. Nakatani was too much. At 5 feet 7 inches tall, he's quite tall for his weight division. He's a southpaw, and he just boxed beautifully against Cortez. Gonzalo, what'd you make of that one?
Yeah, that was a good fight too. I was just thinking the whole time, man. Argy Cortez is sitting right at Junto Nakatani's range. And essentially, I thought they were kind of fighting similarly, although one guy's got the longer arms and is the taller fighter, so it benefits him more to like get the distance when he throws his punches, because actually those punches start. I mentioned it's like when you shoot an arrow and you got it too close to, like, say for example, a heavy bag. I got this off of what's this guy? Never mind. But when you put it against the heavy bag and you cock the bow back, if that arrow don't got space between the heavy bag, it's not gonna pick up the momentum. So a taller fighter like Junko Nakatani that throws straight punches and it's got a little like a separation between you and him, and he throws that straight left, it's like a fucking arrow. If you give him the distance, it's gonna get momentum, and that range is gonna favor Nakatani as opposed to the smaller man in RG Cortez, because RG Cortez was doing the same thing, but he was right at the perfect distance for Junto Nakatani's punch to gain that momentum that he needed to punch with maximum velocity, right? And those are the punches that hurt, man. That, like, Junto Nakatani is a puncher. You give him that distance, he's gonna catch you. And I don't know if it was like Argy Cortez's a little bit of the influence from big influence, because his trainer's Nacho Beristain, although he didn't make it. And you guys know how Juan Manuel Marquez fights. He's a counter puncher. He's not necessarily the Mexican that's always getting up right on your chest. So I'd say that style probably would have worked against another fighter not as tall as Nakatani. But it's kind of like mirroring what he was doing, but it was going to favor the taller man, right?
Right. I mean, Nakatani did beat Francisco Rodriguez in the, I don't know if it was it was before the Maloney fight, I believe. And, Francisco Rodriguez is a guy that can put pressure. And he gave Donny Nietes a good fight. Even when he was, can't believe they threw him in there with a prime Chocolatito when the fucking Rodriguez was 23 years old, I think. But, I mean, he's a tough guy. And Nakatani had a little trouble, but still beat him convincingly. So Nakatani is going to be a nightmare for anybody in this division. We'll see what happens if Estrada Ioka comes through at the end of the year. What did they say? Yeah, I think they're working on Ioka versus Estrada for the usual Japanese New Year's event that they always hold on the 31st of December. So that would be highly entertaining. It would finally clear up a lot of things in this division. And then the winner has the reward taking on Nakatani. I tell you the other thing about Nakatani. By the way, shout out to Shadow Combat. He's clarified. Yes, Rudy Hernandez. I don't know why I was thinking about Rudy Perez. I was getting confused. Nevertheless, Nakatani is training with Hernandez. That's why you could often hear some instructions in I think they talk Spanish to the guy. But it just reminds me that a lot of these there's been Japanese guys that are willing to travel abroad to gain a little bit more knowledge. Like a couple of years ago, what was the name of that fucking Japanese guy that did tremendous ratings in Japan? What was his name? And he had a bunch of Kameda. Was that him? Koki Kameda? There was another
Koki
Kameda. Yeah, and there was another Kameda. I don't know if you remember. He's the one that lost to that British guy that ended up losing to Inoue, and he also fought Ray Vargas. Well, anyway, that dude, that Kameda, he was training in Mexico because he wanted to learn new things. And in fact, that's what you would see. When he would throw that left hook to the body, he would throw it like they teach you in Mexico, like the standard whipping type left hook. And I'm thinking, why don't more fighters do that? More fighters, they think they got everything at home. I'm not saying you got to switch trainers every time, but I'm saying go to other countries, spar those guys, and see what happens. So this Nakatani dude, quite interesting that he would choose to go down that road. Yeah, and also
I think was it
Mhm.
who's the guy that comes on the show here sometimes from the 3 knockdown rule? Steve Kim. He says that Rudy Hernandez is a real close friend of his, and he tried telling Ryan Garcia, for example, like he needs to change the speed on his punches.
Mhm.
It's kind of like when you swing to like hit a baseball, you don't always want to like load up on it, right? So maybe it's one of those things that he's teaching his fighters not to throw everything with power, but kind of like 50-50, put some power, but also try to lace his punches with some speed. And he's basically like a counter puncher too. In this, what is it, Nakatani guy? He's patiently waiting, like for you to step into his range, and he'll throw a quick counter down the middle. That's how he's getting the knockouts.
Yeah, man. I mean, the way he laid out Maloney was scary. The fight, he could do it so late in the fight as well. It's just he's going to be a problem, man. He's going to be a problem. We're going to be opening up the phone lines real soon, so stay tuned for that, fellas. Just a couple of quick notes here as well. If you hit the like, too. That really helps us out. Hit the like. Subscribe if you've yet to do so already. On the undercard of Zhang, we've got Anthony Yardy taking on Ricky Summers at the light heavyweight division. This Ricky Summers guy, straight up, slow, not a big puncher as far as I know. He's durable. He's been durable, but I think Yardy is probably just, unless Yardy is sick or whatever, there's not that much interest in watching that fight. Then you have, like I said, in Orlando, Florida, later on that night, you've got boxing from the zone. And you've got Richardson Hitchens, who's undefeated, taking on Jose Cepeda. Really a big step up for him in the junior welterweight division. That's a 10-rounder. We'll see what Jose Cepeda has left. Also on the undercard, this is an interesting one. Austin Ammo Williams. He's taking on Steve Rolls, who always shows up for a fight. He's 39 now. But the last time we saw him, he was making Berlanga look bad, which is nothing special nowadays. Well, it seems like everybody makes Berlanga look bad, but it's a nice little test, and it's a good card. We'll see what happens there. It's 2 live underdogs in there, so make sure to catch that one. All right. So we covered the fight's going to be taking place this Saturday.
Yeah, I would say anytime Berlanga speaks, he makes himself look bad.
Ah, come on. No, wait a minute. I mean, I don't know. With Berlanga, they're talking about him versus Munguia. Yeah, it's like, how about looking good in a fight first? Then we'll talk about who he shows up
against. I think Munguia will kick his ass so bad.
I mean, that's saying something. That's saying something right there.
That's not really saying anything, but be honest with you, I think Munguia, with all the flaws that he may have, the one thing he could do is punch. And that would be a nightmare for Berlanga.
Yeah, Berlanga, man. I mean, I don't know. People were impressed with the power thing, but it's like I always say, okay, you got good power. Then when the other guy takes your shot, what's next? What can you do? And we found out the answer with him. And apparently the rumor is, I mean, look, it's never a good move when one company, Top Rank, for example, has so much promise in you and they're telling everybody, yo, this guy hits hard, and then they let you go afterwards. That's usually a sign that, hey, this guy, he ain't taking this too seriously. Usually. Could be other factors or other reasons, but that's
what happened was that he started getting gassed up.
That's right.
From all, those one-round knockouts against nobodies. And so he's like hanging out and shit. You always see him in the club scenes throughout like New York and Florida.
You see him at the club scene, right?
I never saw him, but like, he's on Instagram. I mean, listen, I might have saw him. I just didn't. Maybe I didn't know who he was. But he, like I would follow him on Instagram, and bro, it was just like pictures this at a club, hanging out with Fat Joe. That's the kryptonite, right? When you're hanging out with Fat Joe.
You know what, though? Recognize, though, you're being a little bit too... I hate to put you on the spot, but Recognize he's being coy. He's being humble. He doesn't want me to tell you guys the story. He was in a club, a nightclub, and Recognize a bit of a legend where he's from. So Berlanga came up to him first. He's like, hey, Mr. Recognize, I'm a big fan of you. I'm actually just starting my own enterprise. I want to expand. And Recognize was being sort of aloof. Then the second time he saw him, Recognize was really blunt. He said, who the fuck are you? I should remember you. And he really started, being nasty to Berlanga. So that's what happened there. But you're right, though. Berlanga, that's the thing, though. He's hanging out with the rappers. That's
Berlanga knocked my old ass out. Let's be honest, right? He knocked me out. I was laid out.
Well, I don't know, but yeah, listen. I mean, Berlanga, big power. Okay, so I'm not impressed. Am I rooting for the kid? Yeah, sure, why not? But he needs to show us something.
I would
it's not
like
a good thing that you're hanging out with a guy that made that song about Roy Jones, the lean back. It might be a lean back. No.
Yeah. That's fat ass. Well, skinny Joe now.
Fat piece of shit Joe. Is that what you call him?
Deflated Joe. Deflated Joe.
Did he get that? What do they do when they staple your stomach? Is that what he got?
Oh, I'm sure he did. And he looks worse. I liked when he was fat ass Joe. You know what I'm saying? He was better that way.
You know who's worse? Kevin Smith, the guy from Jay and Silent Bob. He used to be a fatso. Then he turned vegan, and now he's. He lost the weight, but that vegan diet will take its toll on you. His face looks sunken in, like especially the eyes. Something happens with vegans.
It looks completely unhealthy.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you the key. Okay, listen, I'm just from a guy who keeps himself in pretty good shape for a 50-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
The key is eat a lot of protein, work out, and work out hard. Build yourself to that. Start working out 1 hour. Make that an hour and a half after a couple of months. And do that like at least 4 to 5 times a week. 4 to 5 times a week, you have to, bro. I'm telling you. And you will look lean, and you won't look, sickly like these dudes do. Like let's say like Fat Joe. Fat Joe looks sick to me. Looks like he got AIDS or something.
I mean, listen, hey, like Recognize has that discipline, which at the end, it's no longer discipline. It just becomes habit. I guess some people could say, well, discipline is habit. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. Nevertheless, Berlanga really has to step it up and show us something. Now, I tell you what, though. This, a lot of people are talking about, I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently Leonard Ellerby is saying Tank Davis is not going to fight this year. He just got out of jail. Unfortunately, probably won't be the last time. And they're saying that, this is what he had to say. He says, Tank Davis is ready to come back out. Come back out. I mean, what the fuck? He's going to make that big splash like he always does. Yeah, like with the 200,000 pay-per-view buys against Romero. If Tank, blah, blah, blah. And then he says Tank will fight whoever he wants because he's that big. And it doesn't have to be for a belt. I can say that because he's that guy, Ellerby said. He's going to get those guys that they, meaning the fans, want. This is prize fighting, he said. Tank Davis isn't going to be taking no pay cut for anything. He's the boss. Tank is that dude. So I just got to say this. Shakur Stevenson was on a show, on a podcast. He said something about, well, I want to fight the best, blah, blah, blah. I hate to break it to you guys out there, and I hope I'm wrong. Or hopefully these guys prove me wrong. These fights ain't going to happen, man. Like Irish Andrew Ward said in the Discord, like he keeps saying, he says, you listen to what these guys say. They're just talking about fighting each other so that you guys remember their names. Oh, this guy's still out there. He's there. And then they go ahead and they fight somebody else. Like Irish Andrew Ward said, these guys, listen to what they say. When they ask him, are you going to fight? Like say you ask Shakur Stevenson, hey, you want to fight Haney or whatever. That's definitely a great fight down the line. That's definitely going to be a mega fight down the line. Down the line. What about now? Why aren't you trying to push for this fight right now? Well, maybe Shakur Stevenson is. I don't know. I'm still not convinced. And then the other thing they like to do is, I'm certainly going to, I'm going to go back to talk to my team, see what makes sense. See what makes sense. I'll tell you something. You don't need a fucking crystal ball or a fucking quantum computer to tell you what, to know what makes sense. Ask the fans. Listen to what the fans have to say. They're usually the great indicator or the best indicator as to which fights are the best to make. What fight should be next? These guys don't give a shit. They give a shit. You know who they would rather give their money to or placate? The sanctioning bodies. Take my 5%, 15%, whatever that is.
They want the belts. They want the bling. They want to be undisputed for their own ego purposes. But when it comes time to facing another top fighter that's actually got a chance of beating them, unless it's for generational money that's going to like protect their nest egg down the road because their drawing power might get hurt if they lose, they don't want it. It's as simple as that. And their actions show bigger than their words that is exactly the case.
Look at the biggest example. What's Earl Spence's legacy? What's Deontay Wilder's legacy?
Getting beat.
Exactly. You got it. That's it.
Getting beat
and their biggest fight that they could ever have throughout their careers, they were beaten up. So that's their legacy. And this is what happens when you coach your career through to get to the biggest fight. So then when you do get to the biggest fight that you can possibly have, you're just not prepared. And I'm not saying that, in the case of Tyson Fury and Crawford, that they had better experience in the ring in terms of like better name opponents. But what these guys have is more ability. You know what I'm saying? There's more in their toolbox. So when they fight you, a guy who needs more experience, who needs to build character in the ring and basically know how to do things when one thing is not working. I kind of lost my train of thought. But anyway, when you go in against, when you coach your career and you go up against opposition that's going to fight back, you're finished, bro. This is not a coincidence that they both got waxed the way they did. It's not a coincidence at all. Yeah, you could take Earl Spence and say, look, man, he might have been damaged goods. I do believe that to a certain extent, but it goes to his mindset that he was coached through his career. His flaws were hidden or trying to be hidden. And then when he had to face somebody of his peer, he wasn't ready and he got destroyed. Well, so that's what these guys are building.
In similar situations, okay, so let's look at both the guys you mentioned. You mentioned Spence and Wilder, right? They have been brought along. Everyone knew Wilder was flawed, so I'm not even going to talk about him. We're just going to leave him alone.
Wait, I just want to reiterate. If we're going to start talking about Errol Spence Crawford again, we better make it quick, man. Come on, please, because I can't stand another conversation about Errol Spence Crawford.
Well, it's basically it's PBC fighters as a whole, and this isn't me knocking PBC. It's how they've brought their fighters around. It's the fact that they left them untouched because Charlo's the next one on the chopping block. And some people think, he's going to pull off an upset. Well, he's been stunned by lesser fighters that were smaller than him, like Castano, who I don't think have world-class power. I said this on this air before, yet he staggered Jamel around the first fight. Didn't really stun him much the second fight because Mel did what he was supposed to and showed up. But in Spence's regard also, they're matching these guys against soft touches. In the meantime, certain fighters that they're putting them against like Canelo, even though we didn't see this coming years ago with Charlo and Canelo, but with Spence and Crawford, they give Crawford a chance, one, to acclimate to the weight, but two, to come up with an idea of like, I'm already know how to fight from right-handed. I'm going to spend the next 3 fights fighting southpaw so I can become a proficient southpaw. Gave him time to train and work on a totally different dynamic playing field and everything. But not every fighter can do this, but Bud can, Fury can, Canelo did. And so when they match these guys finally up against guys that actually have a high IQ, an acclimate for the sport, study the sport, work all the time on their trade to improve, regardless of what you think about them personally or anything about their ethics, they still take the craft serious enough to add elements to their game on a constant level. Spence did not. Charlo did not. Wilder did not. What's happened so far, with the exception of Charlo, and we'll find out that one at the end of the month. They lost, and they lost incredibly embarrassingly because they didn't add anything else to their game. Their opponents did, and by not taking these fights sooner, they gave them time to grow as fighters and become bigger than just a one-trick pony.
Well, that's a great question. First of all, you were, I keep crediting you and Jimmy for pointing that out, that the whole punching thing, that Spence couldn't, after the accident, you could see that his punching resistance was different now, and not in a good way. But that's the activity, man. Steve Kim was one of the first ones to start pointing that out. Activity. These guys are just too inactive nowadays, fighting once a year, and they think they can get away with it. In fact, a lot of these guys, like Jimmy keeps bringing up the fact too that Josh Taylor was saying, "Hey, I don't mind fighting once a year." And Gary Russell Jr. And they started this whole trend where they said, "Hey, I'll fight once a year." That seems to be a bad idea now. And it's starting to be proven so with the results we're watching. These guys are supposed to be fighting. Their logic is, I fight once a year, but I keep myself sharp in the gym. Therefore, I'm preserving myself. And that's not the case. In fact, it might actually be worse to be training so much because these guys too, usually, they love to spar probably. And that's probably what also might be taking their toll, or that it's toll on them. You got to stay active in there. Maybe, sometimes it's hard. I understand. Look, we want fighters to fight the 3 best opponents every year. Sometimes that's impossible because of political division and all that. But nevertheless, you want to see guys fight at least 3 times a year. I mean, Tank Davis, he was on the road to that. He fought in January, the first or second week of January, and then in April. So right there, boom, 2 fights. I think he fought within 6 months. He fought more often than he actually had in the last couple of years. Usually it's 2 fights and it's spaced apart by like 8-9 months. This time he got off to a good start. And then what happened? Well, he can't stay out of trouble, and now they're saying he won't fight this year. But that's a problem that's going on with everybody else, especially at the PBC. So guys now, I think it's out of their control. It might even be out of the promoter's control. It's TV networks. And the unfortunate fact is a lot of these networks, they just don't have that much confidence in the sport of boxing as a moneymaker.
If it were a moneymaker, they'd be doing it.
Exactly.
It's not a big enough moneymaker. All right. If it were the same, why did USA get rid of boxing? It wasn't just the fact that they wanted to move away from it, which they did, but they quit funding it to try and make it die. But at the same time, obviously something wasn't working somewhere. The funding they were getting for the commercials they were getting, it was just the 900 number commercials that were coming along. So the vendors that wanted to put the money on to advertise for stuff obviously didn't want their stuff associated with boxing. Either that or the company did that to shoot down having boxing on the program. That part I don't know the ins and outs of. But if it's financially sound, there's not all networks are businesses. If it's making the money, they're not going to get rid of it. Why is the NFL still going? Is it because of popularity? Because it generates billions of dollars with a B. That's the reason why they keep putting so much money into NFL, investing into it and everything else, is because it still brings in, enough to run one of our branches of the service per year. It brings up that much money. Boxing just doesn't. And the networks caught on to this several years ago, almost about a decade ago, when they stopped subsidizing fights. They'll subsidize a big fight, especially through pay-per-view, and they'll invest into it to put some sponsorship up to get a purse to get going, to start negotiations. But aside from that, they're not going to put any money into Haney and Shakur. They're not. Why? Because neither guy's going to draw a crowd big enough. They're not going to draw 30,000 fans fighting each other. Now, some people may say I'm wrong, but there's no evidence that they can even by themselves generate 15,000 fans and to sell that crowd.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
they're not
that's
going to generate that much, then what's next? Well, right now they fight on regular TV. At least Shakur does. Sometimes ESPN Plus, but nothing pay-per-view wise because it's regular. So the TV network has to subsidize. So if they're going to get the kind of money they're both going to want of maybe $10 million split between the two of them one way or another, between 60-40 and so on and so forth. Okay, where are we going to generate that money back? And that's what some people didn't realize about Spence Crawford. For the longest time, it wasn't predicted to be selling enough to where they were going to be able to get the money to pay these guys. Other people put money up. It came in. We think it might have made a profit. Not positive that it did, based off of the fact of it got around around 650 pay-per-view buys. All right, and the cable company takes half of that, and these guys supposedly walked away with 25 million apiece.
Well, I'll say this, man. This we're talking about what's bad in boxing, and it's certainly compared to where it was, and maybe you'll compared to where it was 30 years ago, you say it's declining. That being said, compared to where it was last year, I don't know if this 2023 is sort of like the last breath, the last big breath before it actually starts deflating. But it was actually, this year was better than 2022. It's not over yet, and but just everything that transpired in the last 9 months, it's been good, man. I mean, look, last year, if we rewind to our prediction year-end show where we predict what's going to happen in 2023, a lot of people were saying, I think myself included, Garcia, Tank Davis, not happening. Spence Crawford, not happening. Now, usually, like I said, it could be something different. Like, if these fights are happening, maybe that's because the economy is so bad that these guys want to cash out, or they know boxing is going down the drain, so they got to really step it up. And I don't know, it could be different things. But who cares? At the end of the day, well, not who cares, but at the end of the day, the main thing is those fights happen. We had a great war between Luis Neri and Haney. I forget the guy's name, the Armenian. Very, very tough. We had Lomachenko versus Haney. We have Canelo now versus Charlo. It's a big fight. Who else have we had? We had I had the list here so I wouldn't forget. Let me prop it up. But we've had some great fights. I mean, Joyce versus Zhang. That's a good fight right there between top heavyweights. And we had a little bit of an upset. Beterbiev versus Yardy was supposed to be a one-sided whipping, and Yardy showed up to fight. Bless his heart. We had an upset between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank. We had Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor, and that was another upset. Benavides versus Plant. Okay, that fight shouldn't have taken place on pay-per-view, but at least it happened. If you're a big boxing fan, then you have Inoue versus Fulton, Navarrete Valdez, and on. This thing went, and we're still not done yet, fellas. So 2023, I guess it's safe to say it's been a good year. What else do you guys expect down the line, and what are you guys looking forward to the most before 2023 ends? Let's talk about that.
I'm not mad at as a fan at Haney versus Regis Prograis. I think that's a good fight. And Shakur versus La Bomba. What's his last name? Jesus, the Dominican dude. That's a good fight too. La Granada, Dos Santos.
Granada, yeah.
That's a good fight too. So I'm looking forward to those fights. I'm looking for Shakur to get upset by the power puncher.
Really? Edwin de los Santos.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Edwin de los Santos.
Hey, what else, Gazelle, we haven't even talked about this, fellas. On that undercard of Cruz Stevenson versus Edwin de los Santos, going to be taking place November 16th. We also, that the undercard is set. Emmanuel Navarrete versus Robson Conceição. First of all, that should be the main event. I don't know why they're putting in their peanut shooter, Cruz Stevenson, but nevertheless, Navarrete versus Conceição. What do you guys make of that one?
I mean, he's a tricky, crafty southpaw, Olympic gold medalist. A lot of people thought he beat Oscar Valdez, so that'd be a good fight for Navarrete. I think he beats him, Navarrete.
Well, at least Conceição won't have to worry about his nuts. That he might have to worry about his face and body area, but I like Navarrete, man. I think that guy is the goods. I like that fight, man. Any fight he's in, I like it.
Yeah, Conceição is a strong guy, and I thought he beat Valdez. Now, when he was getting his balls busted by Shakur Stevenson, there wasn't much he could do. I mean, the ref wasn't going to do anything. So I like what Conceição said, which is, okay, you're going to break the rules, I'll break the rules, and just start clinching. What's good? What's good for the goose, right? So against Navarrete, though, that type of clinching, I think he's going to be forced to clinch, not because of the low blows, but just because the offense is going to be coming from all sides. But Conceição, I don't know, his right hand seems to stink a little bit. He's got a good jab, good counter left hook, but his right hand, you need some good straight shots. I think that strength could play a factor in keeping Navarrete away. But the problem with Conceição too is he's 34 years of age. And again, at this weight division, that could be a lot, could be maybe insignificant, but it's going to be some form. It's going to play a factor. I guess Navarrete, who's at close to his peak.
And he looks like he's not aggressive enough. He doesn't have the instinct to go for the kill if he got you a little hurt. Because he was doing good against Valdez, but he let off the pedal when he had him a little bit kind of like under pressure, where he could have like capitalized off that. He let him off the hook. So it's one of those things. He's not aggressive enough. He throws a lot of punches, but there's a difference between throwing punches and actually being aggressive when you need to.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of these Olympians, man. They fight like they're. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have to anything to do with him being Olympian. Now I think about it. But everything you said is right on the money there, Gonzalo. And Navarrete, he did get hurt. That's one of the reasons why when the Valdez fight was coming up, I thought Valdez was going to be able to hurt him more often than he did. The only time he hurt him, I think, was with a right hand, overhand right. He'd been hurt before in another ESPN fight with a left hook. But the good thing for him is he's fighting a guy that's relatively long. A little bit tall. I mean, how tall is Conceição? Conceição is 5'10" and a half. Okay, no, he's taller than Navarrete. So Navarrete might be able to get a couple of... Wow, he's 5 feet, 10 inches tall. Holy shit. And even then, Shakur Stevenson looked bigger than him. I'm telling you, like Thunderdome kept saying before, man, this guy is Shakur Stevenson, he's a bit of a weight bully. Well, not a bit. I mean, he said outright he's a weight bully. Navarrete still at 130. I think he's comfortable now at 130, so we'll see what happens. Is there a chance for an upset? I think so. We'll see what happens.
What makes Navarrete difficult, or what makes him deceptive, is like, okay, maybe he's 5'7", but according to like his how tall he is, his arms are actually longer, which you wouldn't like actually like it wouldn't cross your mind that his arms are longer than what you think he according to his stature, to his height. So you could be like opposite to him boxing, and you could think, oh, this dude's never gonna catch me with the long right hand, and he will. That's the thing. You think you're far away because you're taller than him, but he's getting you. So he's deceptive with the arm reach.
Yeah, that's it. You said that before the Valdez fight too, man, and it's gonna be tricky for anybody to beat him at this point. But hopefully, Conceição comes to fight, and hopefully it's a clean fight. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with any chicanery, any hijinks that might cast aspersions on that fight. Now, the other thing is, I'm trying to prop up my schedule here. I'd made a schedule with all the upcoming fights, and there's some good ones, man. Maybe not, like, I was talking with Butch about this, and he says, like, yeah, usually we want a big December fight, a mega fight in December. And there were rumors that maybe Joshua Wilder would be that fight, but now it's looking unlikely. Be that as it may, there's some very interesting fights, man, on paper. Not the most, like I said, the biggest mega fights, but there's interesting fights. For example, I'll just go through a list here. Well, we got Zhang versus Joyce. Then on September the 30th, we've got the Canelo versus Jermell Charlo, and that undercard's good. That same day, from London, England, we got Jay Onomatopoeia, the cruiserweight champ, taking on Jordan Thompson. Now, some of you guys think, yeah, Jordan Thompson, you look at his record, he's not the guy. The guy's 6 feet 6 inches tall. It's incredibly tall for a cruiserweight. Now, I still think Onomatopoeia is going to win, but I think, I don't know, man. I think it's the first time he's fought somebody that tall, and I don't know if I want to see how he can fight going forward or chasing after a guy, if that makes any sense. That same day, we got Joe Corradina fighting against Edward Vasquez, who's coming up in weight, I believe. So I don't know if he's that big a puncher, so I don't know how excited people are for that one. But that's taking place not this Saturday, but the next. And what else? We've got Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington on October the 7th. That should be a bit of a banger. Warrington likes to come forward, even though he doesn't hit hard. He makes up for it with aggression. Lee Wood can crack. He's 34 years of age, so a little bit long in the tooth. He's still looking for that big win after beating and upsetting Lara in the rematch. October the 7th, that very same Saturday, Gilberto Ramirez versus Joe Smith Jr. Holy smokes, guys. Of everything I'm saying here so far, which one are you looking forward to the most? And I haven't even finished with the list yet, but what do you guys think? Ramirez, Joe Smith Jr.?
The September 30th card is a good card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely going to be
Lubin
buying that for
versus
sure.
Mono Ramos and Yugas versus the other guy. Jesus. The guy that Tank Davis beat. The Mexican kid. That's a
I
good
tell you,
fight.
fucking Lubin versus El Mono, I'm thinking maybe fucking Lubin pulls off the upset.
I don't think so, BD. The other guys, he's just he's more robust. He's bigger. He's younger. He's maybe not fast, but he hits hard as fuck. And I think the other dude's he's got a lot of wear and tear. He hits hard too, but he might be somewhat chinny. I'm thinking.
Mono Ramos, he's good. He's a southpaw, so that's always going to throw people off for a loop. But then on top of that, he's a like you said, he's a big guy. He hits hard. But I was watching some of his fight, like with the Mendoza fight, for example. Mendoza's going to be taking on Team Zoo, by the way. Mendoza was making it very hard for the first 6 rounds. And then Ramos beat him, took over a little bit late in the fight. When he fought Luke Santamaria, who's also another mobile opponent, he was giving Ramos trouble again. So what does Ramos do? When he sees, oh shit, these guys are giving me trouble, all he says is, I'm going to put more pressure. He just takes it up a notch in terms of intensity. But I'm thinking, what if that doesn't happen? Or what type of style could actually that be problematic against? And that type of style might be Erickson Lubin, because Lubin can crack a little bit, and he's got the faster hands. He's a fellow southpaw. So in other words, this might be a mini Crawford Spence. It could be, Gonzalo. I know you seem to disagree, but what do you think? Is this a fight where we could potentially see Mono Ramos's weaknesses?
Well, yeah, like you're saying, maybe because he's quicker. So if Erickson Lubin beats him to the punch and is having Ramos reset every time he gets hit, where he can never find his place inside the ring and is always second best, maybe he doesn't have time to like really pin him down and beat him up like he's done to these other guys. Because he got some pop, so that's a possibility.
Yeah, by the way, the fellas, the phone lines are open, so make sure to call in. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe.
I don't think so, BD. I don't think.
You don't think they should hit the like?
No, I don't think so. But then again, it's when the guy hasn't lost, it's very easy to say, "Oh, I don't conceive of him losing." But you know how that goes,
right?
So it's not out of the realm of possibility, like you said.
Speaking of no official loss, when is that con job gonna fight Fury?
When is that? You mean when is Fury gonna fight?
Yeah, the con artist.
That's on near the end of October, I believe. October the 28th from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Should be in Halloween.
Well, it is technically, yeah, almost, yeah, near Halloween. I mean, it's I don't expect them to put any Halloween decorations over there in Saudi Arabia. They probably think that's devilry, but nevertheless.
Oh, that's right. Good point.
Yeah, Fury now came out. Like, listen, Fury said that he wants to fight John Jones. I asked somebody that, and they confirmed it. And then he's talking about how he's not really that much interested in boxing anymore. You got to take what he says with a grain of salt because he's a showman, he's a salesman. But I'd be very surprised if he doesn't end up fighting Usyk. I think the plan is, some of the people have said that he wants to age Usyk out a little bit. And, by the time they fight, if they fight next year, that's Usyk's going to be 36? Or how old would Usyk be?
I think Usyk is 36 now. So he might be like 37. Okay.
Yeah, that's what he wants. I mean, imagine, because that's Usyk's advantage, his skill, advantage his skill and the speed. If he starts slowing down.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, you want to age that. That's what you want to, that's what you kind of want to do, and see if he, see if like it's good enough to like win a stupid ass decision. But yeah, I'm disgusted with boxing, to be honest with you, especially because of the heavyweight division and other stuff. But the fact that Fury is like even considered like a lineal champion is like laughable, bro. The guy's not a fucking champion, man.
I mean, he hasn't been comporting himself that way, and I give him credit for beating Dylan White easier than I expected him to. But man, that was 20 all the way back near the beginning of 2022. Since then, he fought Chisora an unnecessary third time, and then this year he hasn't fought at all. And that the one time he's going to be fighting is going to be against an amateur. Not even. I mean, it's there's better amateurs out there than Ngannou. So this is a clear money grab. Bucho has that theory that it's Fury's wife that's keeping him, making him take these type of fights because it's a lot of money and very little risk. So I don't know, man. That's why I don't even feel about talking about Fury. It's the same thing when Fury was retired or just came out of retirement. I was thinking, look, I don't want to talk about Fury until he fights somebody top notch because we don't know when he's going to retire. He's going to maybe re-retire the next day or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's same thing now. I don't even want to talk about that Ngannou fight, even mention it. It's undeserving of our time. And any potential fight out there for him too is undeserving. So I don't know what to say, man. Oscar Valdez says he predicts a Canelo Alvarez to KO Jermell Charlo in under 10 rounds. Gonzalo, you seem to be thinking now, you've told me that you think that Canelo is a bona fide puncher at this point with the way he's punching, the technique.
Well, yeah, he's went up in weight and he's been working like you coined it. No, the sledgehammers. So my thinking is, even though he's 33, when do you get better? The first year you're dropping the sledgehammer, the second or the third year? Well, he's fighting at a higher weight. He's developed that style. So obviously I would have to say that now, after 2-3 years, he's got that down better than he did in the beginning. Constantly hitting, the wrecking ball, the water bag, the round shield instead of the mitts. The focus shield. So I'm thinking these are shoulder driven punches. He's lost some speed. Obviously, he's put up some size. But he's in there. He's not looking to go the distance. A lot of times he's believing in the power. And I rewatched the Ryder fight, and it seemed to me like he caught a second win around the 9th round. Just like, man, all of a sudden he wasn't looking quick in the beginning, but he was kind of looking quick in the 9th, and that's when he was putting it on Ryder. So I think that he's true to I'm gonna beat you up, break you down, look for the knockout, and I'm not gonna give up on that thought process. So he's going in there committed to that game plan. He's not actually looking to go to the scorecards. So that's what I'm saying. He's hurting dudes. And now the evidence is one more thing, BD. He's breaking bones with the little gloves. So obviously,
recognize
proof to that.
We'll talk more about this. We'll cover it more in depth as it gets along. But recognize, you got any preliminary thoughts on that, on a potential stoppage from Canelo against Charlo?
Yeah, I can see that later on in the fight, because the one fight I keep going to is the Castaño Charlo fight. How this little guy, I mean, different styles, but kind of similar approach, except that one is a lot stronger, and that's Canelo. I just see him. This is what I see. Early in the fight, there's going to be difficulties, right? I think Charlo could out jab him at times, keep him at bay somewhat until Canelo gets his timing down and doesn't respect Charlo anymore. What happens then when he doesn't respect Charlo anymore? He's going to walk him down. I'm not saying he's going to guarantee a knockout, but it's just that you're going to see Canelo landing a lot of more power shots. And the question would be, for me, is can Charlo hold up? And it's 50-50 for me. I would not be shocked if he stops him like somewhere around 9 through 11.
Interesting, because somebody was putting on the Discord. There's some dude that sparred Canelo, some Muslim-sounding guy, and he claimed that Canelo had to call the sparring, one of their sparring sessions cut short. He cut it short because Canelo was exhausted, fatigued, and that he's slowing down. He's become lazy, and if that's true. Whether it's true or false, Canelo has addressed the fact that people are calling him lazy now because of the one punch at a time approach that he showed against Ryder, and he's been saying things in the press conference and in the media saying, "Hey, I'll prove you wrong." So he's aware of what's being said. And one thing you gotta give Canelo credit for is that he listens to what people say and he tries to deliver on what they expect from a positive standpoint. For their positive expectations. So I think we're gonna see a different. I don't know if he's gonna be throwing those single sledgehammer shots that he did against Ryder. But even if he does and he manages to beat Charlo up, hopefully he puts on a show regardless of his approach. So we'll see what happens. He seems to be adamant about proving people wrong. So that's
and I think he looks a little smaller now, BD. So he's kind of like tapered off the muscle, maybe just slightly, where it'll benefit his speed.
Well, we shall see. Again, we're going to be talking. Hopefully we'll be talking about that fight more as it approaches. By the way, don't forget to hit the like, and the phone lines are open, so make sure to call in. What was I going to say about that Canelo fight? Well, yeah, if you say he's losing weight, maybe he'll try to fight more like he did against Daniel Jacobs, where he'll still be quick, but he's coming forward and throwing at least a couple of combos. Shout out to official scorecard boxing what was that?
No, sorry, BD. I was just gonna say I will say this about Charlo because I don't listen hardly ever to Sean Porter, but there was a video where he mentioned that Charlo wasn't known to be a puncher until he was. Basically, he was giving Charlo credit to the fact that he's accurate, and I believe that. We saw how he dropped Lubin and even Banana Rosario to the body. His timing, his accuracy is like on point. So he's one of the type of fighters that when he does land clean, he's landing like right at the tip of the chin. So he's catching you with this accurate punch, with the great sense of timing. So if he can land some of those shots, that's where he gets his power from. Hey, he can hurt Canelo.
Yeah, I think so too, man. He's gonna be he's got a wide frame, wide shoulders. There's space there to put on some weight without looking bad. Shout out to official. He said Charlo may make him look bad if he sticks in moves. He looked better in the rematch when Castaño's output was lower. Canelo's output is even lower. On the other hand, Charlo got hurt by a 154-pounder. See, that brings up something that we're gonna be exploring more as the fight approaches. And who's Charlo's hardest hitting opponent? What's the biggest puncher he's ever fought? Banana Rosario? And that guy's got a bad chin too. Every time he loses, he gets stopped. So, Canelo, you might think he's not a big puncher, but you tell that to John Ryder, who was all busted up and got wobbled multiple times, got dropped. This is the biggest puncher that Charles ever fought. And it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that power. Oh, and then people keep bringing up the fact that Charlo got dropped too earlier on in his career. But that was a different Charlo, though. I will say that was a much different Charlo. That was about 8 years ago. So we shall see. Indeed, it's an interesting fight, a very interesting fight. Also, some of the other fights that are going to be taking place this year. Janibek is going to be taking on Vincenzo Gualtieri. Gualtieri is the guy that beat Falcao he pulled off an upset in the 154-pound division. So that fight is taking place on October the 14th on ESPN+. Nice little fight. Well, this one's a bit of a... I'm trying to look at the positive. Jack Catterall versus Jorge Linares. Really, if Josh Taylor had any balls, he would have rematched Catterall. That's the original. He should have the championship and not Teofimo Lopez. That is an outreach, but it is what it is. Okay, now it's November apparently, but Regis Prograis versus David Haney, that's going to be November. November the 4th, we've got Suriel Matias taking on some Eastern European dude named Ergashev. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about Matias. They keep feeding him these Eastern European guys, but so far he's had a good record. The last 4 or 5 opponents he fought were Eastern Europeans, some of them high level. He killed one of them, for Pete's sake. So this guy is dangerous. This guy Ergashev that he's fighting, though, is a long southpaw who's probably going to try to make... he's not going to be playing. suit Matias' game like some of the other past opponents have. So that's an interesting fight right there. Make note of that one.
The reason Matias is fighting these guys is because he's willing to fight them. You know, these guys that are kind of
Exactly,
like unknown. Yeah, he's the one that's like, yeah, I'll fight these dudes. I don't care.
There you go.
I'm gonna fight.
By the way, I wanted to ask you guys, because I talked about Janibek taking on the guy that upset Falcao. Janibek, somebody posted on the Discord. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was a take it with a grain of salt. He said that he would have beaten Golovkin. I think he said easily or something like that. And I think, okay, Janibek's doing way more talking now than fighting, and he didn't look all that great against that African dude. Sorry if I forget the names, but not in his last fight, the one before. Bentley, yes, thank you, Bentley. And now he's going to be taking on that dude. That could be a tough test. What do you guys think about Janibek? Should he be talking as much as he is right now? Does he have a right to be talking that way since a lot of people did seem to avoid him? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't like the whole. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him saying, you know, he feels he could have beat him, but it's pointless until you fight him. And if you do fight him, he's 40 years old, right? He's 40 plus, whatever age he is now. More fighting, less talking.
There you go. I can agree with that. That sounds great. I wish more fighters would do that. Instead of everyone's avoiding me, why? And he's falling into that. I think it's an American influence. I hate to say it, but I think that's what it is.
I'm avoiding. Why?
Yeah. And by the way, like he kept talking about how he's the most dangerous, this and that, and then he's giving extremely hard times against Bentley. I mean, come on, man. He talks about nobody wants to fight me, then he steps it up and he ends up looking horribly. Then again, it could be like what Steve Kim keeps saying, that inactivity. He's a guy that's got under 20 fights and he's fighting twice a year. Again, that could be Top Rank's fault or, even go back to fucking Eastern Europe or wherever he's from, Kazakhstan, and fight over there. Fight a bunch of nobodies over there, but at least fight 4 times a year. If it's 2 good opponents and then 2 bums, whatever. That's what Chavez used to do. And he was always sharp. Well, for the most part, during his prime. Afterwards, with the alcohol and the cocaine, that good Mexican cocaine. And that's when shit started going awry. But yeah, Janibek, that's going to be a good fight, man. I'm looking forward to that one. Not the most, but that's another one of those fights that I'm looking forward to. Again, that's on October the 14th against Vincenzo Gualtieri.
I'm sorry, did I hear cocaine? Where can I get that?
No.
Oh, sorry.
November is when things start getting a little scarce. Like I said, we got Matias versus Ergashev at the beginning of November. Then there's nothing the following week. Then you got Diego Pacheco versus Marcelo Coceres. That's the Argentinian guy that gives every super middleweight problems. And then I think that's. And then I think that the following week, that's what's his name? Prograis versus. Hold on a second. Prograis. Okay. Well, excuse me. November the 4th. Then you got the 16th. You've got those that card. You got the Shakur Stevenson versus the Santos card, the Los Santos, and Navarrete fighting on the undercard. That's one of the best cards in terms of quality. 2 quality fights like that near the end of the year. That's fantastic. That's a fantastic one. I got added to a list. And then, yeah, nothing. What the fuck? So Prograis versus Haney. That's scheduled for December the 9th. So that's for December now. By the way, we got a phone call coming in here. Let's go to the phone lines real quick, and then we'll keep talking about the schedule here. We got 832. You're on the air. 832. What's on your mind?
What up? This is the Straight G Tour. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, man. What's up?
All right. So, about the upcoming boxing, I think, to be honest with y'all, I think this has been the best year in boxing. Like, think about it. Like, we've had a lot of good fights. We've had Tank, Garcia. Whether the reason is that PBC is going out of business or not, ultimately we got these fights. We got Crawford Spence. We got Caleb Plant versus Benavidez. We've had a lot of good fights. Honestly, and we're still going to get mega fights too. We had Inoue Fulton, and now we're about to get Canelo Jermell. And Shakur versus De Los Santos, that's another big fight too, you know. And why isn't nobody talking about? I'm pretty sure Bam Rodriguez is supposed to fight Sonny Edwards too. That's another big fight. I don't know. Is that confirmed or is that like just rumors?
That is indeed confirmed. They're going to be having the press conference this Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. That I'm pretty sure that's a unification fight. That's another really big fight. You know. Down at the lower weight classes. We have Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. You know, that's another big fight in the UK. You know, Super Real. I think he needs to. I think there's no point in him fighting these Europeans. I think he just destroys them all, like a good Latino should. Ergashev. I don't think nothing of him. So I think he should fight. Like Rolly Romero or someone. And Prograis versus Haney. I think I told you in the Discord. I think Regis stops Devin Haney. Kind of like I think he knocks Devin Haney out cold. Honestly, I think he knocks him out like you know how Canelo knocked out Kovalev and Kovalev was like he was dreaming on the ropes. I think he knocked him out something like that.
Wait a minute. So you're saying, how confident are you in that pick there, Straight G?
No, I'm pretty confident, actually. You know, Haney gets lit up by southpaws every fight. Every time you put him in there with the southpaw, he gets lit up. And Prograis out of Jojo Diaz and Lomachenko is somebody that actually commits to his shots. You know. I mean, not to say that the other guys don't, but when he you could tell like when he finishes his punches, you know, he's got foot, shoulder, head, you know, and hand, like they're all lined up. So, you know, he definitely commits to shots. And, you know, when he catches dude, look at what he did to Jose Zepeda. I think, you know, Devin Haney just got going to be another one of his victims, you know. He should have stayed at 135 and fought these guys. And he's got a lot of pressure on him, you know. People are calling him a duck. I think it's going to play into it. You saw what the pressure did to Teofimo when he fought Cambosos, you know, after Lomachenko, you know, with his, you know, when you're pressured, I think the pressure is going to get to him. I don't know. That's just my opinion. We haven't seen him really fight, you know, after, you know, adversity. You know, there's been a lot of controversy on him, and his really not that good of a fighter to begin with. To be honest,
No,
I mean, he just got a jab and. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on Devin Haney, but truth be told, you know, even like the videos you've done on the breakdown of Jojo Diaz exposed Devin Haney, like I really don't see nothing. Devin Haney, he couldn't keep a smaller fighter and Lomachenko off of him. What is he gonna do with somebody who's bigger and punches harder?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you though. But that's what I wanted to ask you though. That what happened then against Zorrilla?
Well, the thing that happened there was Zorrilla didn't want to engage. You know, he engaged at the start, and then you know he got dropped. And after he got dropped, Zorrilla he was too hesitant to engage. I don't really see nothing. And it's crazy because he actually ended up pretty much you know, dropping Prograis at some point. Debatably, but you know. But
he did drop him.
That's
I just rewatched that fight yesterday. Fucking Zorrilla hit him with one hand, and the guy Regis' ass hit the ground.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. But you know the thing. I honestly think Zorrilla's got more skills than Devin Haney. Honestly, you know Zorrilla and he's a southpaw too, so it's not really like a fair comparison. You got to look at what Prograis has done against you know, other fighters, you know. I still favor Regis. I don't know.
I mean,
I know Regis has fought a lot of southpaw. He hasn't fought so many orthodox fighters, but I think he's not gonna have a problem with Haney. You know, that's my opinion.
All right. Well, we shall see. Straight G. I want to talk about that fight now that you mentioned it. So, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah. Hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing I want to say is that I know you said Taylor should have fought Catterall, right?
Yes.
Well, I don't really put the blame on him too much on that because from what I remember, they did have a fight scheduled, but I forgot what happened. I think Taylor. I don't know, something happened, but I know they did have a fight scheduled. So that tells me that Taylor really wanted to get that back, and like that feeling of controversy. Like he does have some redeemable qualities to him. I think he'll come back too. Actually, I think he could fight a Rolly Romero and pick one of his belts back. I don't know, but
Right.
I don't know. That's pretty much
We
it.
shall see, man. We shall see indeed. But by the way, that the first time, I think the first time that the rematch, it was Taylor got injured for the rematch, and then the second time I forget what.
Oh
happened,
yeah,
but
that's what happened. Oh,
Yeah,
speaking
but I
of
mean-
injuries, another thing I wanted to say before I jump off, Jermel, I think Canelo is gonna beat him, right? I think Jermel himself said that when he put on weight, he noticed that he was slower. He said that out of his own mouth. Supposedly, he said that, and he said that now he's working with some strength and conditioning guy to increase his speed. And he allegedly injured his left hand. And honestly, I think his best punch is like the left hook and his jab. So I don't, he has a pretty, I don't want to say a shitty right hand, but he doesn't really put a lot of pop to it from what I've seen in his fights. So I don't, I would favor Canelo definitely.
Well, absolutely, man. Yeah, and we'll talk more about that fight as it approaches. But anyway, straight G, we got to move on here. But thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
All right.
Take it easy out there.
I appreciate it. You have a good one.
You too, man. All right, let's go to my phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you yet to subscribe. Let's go to 214. You're on the air. 214. What's on your mind?
What's up, guys? Well, I wanted to congratulate the guys who fought on Monday. They did pretty well, but I heard that Junto's already having problems. He says 115 is already hard for him. He says that if he doesn't unify, that he's going to move up to 118.
Whoa.
It's going to be crazy. He just got there. He just got there about 2 fights ago. So, I like Junto. I think he's very good. I think Kenshiro is also very good. But I think he should give up on this undisputed thing. I think he should go fight Bam. I think that'll be the better fight. He can still fight Bamba, but don't forget about the IBF title. Go fight Bam. That'll be a better fight. Him and Bamba, they were supposed to fight, so why not, get that on? And, the thing with Regis Prograis and Devin, I think Devin's going to probably dominate Regis for a good chunk. But the problem is the clinching. Regis doesn't let guys clinch him. If you clinch him, he's going to try to, he's going to overpower you. And I think he's going to hurt Devin. That's where that's his best bet. That's his best bet. And other than that, I think he's probably going to get similar to, it's going to be sort of similar to the George Kambosos fight, because I think Devin's got a pretty good reach. He's got a pretty good reach. And I think for my prediction, I don't know. I think it's going to be a controversial Joyce decision. I think Joyce is going to win, but controversially.
Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, we had a Gonzalo saying split decision for Zhang. We got recognized who he said a majority decision, and I think Chief tried to rock the boat, and he said, "What I forget." Well, when he comes back, or anybody remember what his prediction was? I'm getting confused now.
I didn't
Joyce.
Yeah, he said Joyce, but I forget. I think he just said. I don't think he said stoppage. I don't think he was trying to rock the boat that much. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that one, man. But caller,
Joyce late stoppage.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. Yeah, I think he said Joyce late stoppage. Caller, anything else you want to say before we move on?
You guys, I heard that Bernardo Lopez is going to fight again too. You guys heard that?
No, I didn't hear about it. This year?
I think he's going to fight again. Yeah.
Nice. That's good. The Road Warrior staying active. I wonder where he'll fight next. Malaysia, perhaps.
I don't know.
All right,
Maybe it's mandatory, probably.
Well, that's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. Absolutely. We need more punchers fighting more often. Well, anyway, caller, thank you for your call, and call back next, all right? Take it easy out there.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know Venado was going to be fighting. That's good. Hey, listen, fellas, don't forget the phone lines are open. So hit the like, call in, and subscribe if you've yet to subscribe already. I see we got Jimmy jumping in here, the Jimmy Reno. Guys, I wanted to introduce that subject that we were talking about earlier. Straight G says Haney is going to beat. No, excuse me. He says, I'm getting all confused now. Prograis is going to stop Devin Haney. I think we talked about it a little bit in the last show, but let's talk about it again because I'm very intrigued for this fight. What do you guys see happening in that fight?
I could see that happening, man. But the question is like, it all depends on how that fight's officiated. I think, was it the last caller? He said something that's true, that Prograis doesn't, you don't want to clinch against Prograis because he doesn't allow that shit. And that's when he hits you with those good inside shots. So I don't know. It's hard, man. I just see I think this dude, he just survives and he fucking wins like a bullshit decision. That's it, man. I'm sorry, man. There's nothing exciting about that dude. He's shit. That's it. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm going to move on. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't get up there fights. He's boring as fuck, man.
Imagine if this was a TV show and back in the 90s.
I know, I'll be fired.
No. But I was saying is the next day, you get quotes from everybody in the panel and they recognize this quote by Haney is he's shit. Let's just leave it at that. I mean, look, I'll say this though. Prograis is a bona fide puncher, so I can see where Street G is coming from. But it's one thing to hit hard. It's another thing to get that punch across, to get it through, to get it to land. He couldn't get it to land against Zorrilla. And that knockdown that he scored was pretty iffy. So, guys, what does everybody else think?
BDA, let me ask you a question real quick. I'm sorry. I don't want to take up too much time. Okay, I'm not saying David Haney is not a professional boxer. He is. But what does he do at the highest level besides his jab? What else does he do? Clinch?
Well, he's got
is there anything else he's good at?
He's got a good straight right, a good one too.
How good is it though? Really?
Well, but that's the thing. How good was Zorrilla? I mean, Zorrilla is good. Don't get me wrong. He gave Barbosa a good fight. But I mean, are we talking about? I mean, it's look. I'll say this: most of the guys at Prograis fights, they either can't crack, or it's one punch at a time as well. Like
right.
What was it? That was the name of the guy that he beat from England. He also got a controversial. He had a controversial win over Cepeda. F. He starts with an F. Anyway, he beat that guy. Flanagan. Yeah. Flanagan. Thank you. Yeah. Flanagan. And he was just, he heard him and all that, but it's like he didn't go for it. He didn't chase him down. Taylor, they both fought on the inside. That's because they decided it seems like they tacitly agreed. Okay, let's box on the inside because neither of us is going to get the upper hand on the outside. Against Cepeda, that's the fight that won us all over, the way he beat Cepeda. But then you saw against Zorrilla, he could, and to keep it short, everyone that keeps saying, yeah, Prograis is going to win because he's like Lomachenko, but bigger. I agree. He's bigger than Lomachenko and he hits harder, but I disagree with everything else. He's not, he doesn't have the same mechanics. He doesn't jack his way in. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, guys, what do you think about that? Is there a stylistic difference here that's going to play a fight?
I will say this about Haney. A lot of the times he's beating the opponent to the punch. So he's having to where you're always having to reset. And I think that he comes up with a good game plan. So he's beating you to the punch and he's devising a good game plan along with his father and everybody else you got on the corner on how to box your particular style. If it's Cambosos now moving forward, now they're going to study Regis and they're going to be like, well, he punches hard with the left hand. Let's try to avoid this punch. And they're going to stick to that game plan, taking away Regis' strengths, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good game plan, and I could see him doing that, what Gonzalo just said. But I don't know if he could do that throughout the whole fight without getting cracked with a big shot. That's going to be I think that's going to be the most interesting part of this whole fight, is if he gets cracked. Because look, Haney could beat this dude on points. I could definitely see that happening, right? Use his little 1-2, use his outside movement, make sure that he's not in range, shit like that. And Prograis is kind of slow. His footwork is kind of slow. So I could see him like outboxing him. It's just a boring fucking fight, right? So the most interesting thing would be is if he gets hit by Prograis, what happens? You know, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to. If I'm looking forward to see, it doesn't matter if Prograis wins or not. I want to see him crack Devin Haney to see what happens to Devin Haney after that.
Yeah, it's not out of the. It sounds kind of cliche, but the realm of possibility because we seen him have his funny moments every freaking fight. Against Linares, he had his funny moment. Against Lomachenko, he had his funny moment. Going back to Santiago, same thing. He's always getting caught in every fucking fight.
Well, some people are going to say that the counter argument to that is, well, it's boxing. You're supposed to get hit.
Yeah, for sure. That's a valid argument. But he's you could see the vulnerabilities where he's tying up, where he's getting shook. You know, where he's in the corner with the dad. Oh, he's catching me. He's coming on strong, like what he said about Lomachenko in the 11th round, and stuff like that. And then you got the judges favoring him with the supposed like he's the body snatcher, the body shot. So he lost that fight. It was a good fight. It was a close fight. But obviously Lomachenko's a better boxer than Regis Prograis. And I know Regis Prograis hits harder. Also a southpaw. And you get that's kind of going in Haney's favor that he just fought southpaw. Whether you thought he won or lost, he did face a southpaw. So it's one of those things too. Go ahead. Hey Jimmy, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Jimmy?
Oh, nothing much, man. I agree with what you guys are saying about that. I think it's Haney's going to make the fight as boring as possible. Prograis is I really this week I watched a few of his fights just to see how he reacts in certain periods. When he gets frustrated, some guys are tells. Navarrete, excuse me, is one of the best in boxing at this. Whether he's hurt, angry, frustrated, you just punch him in the nuts. No change in his face, just rubs his nose and comes and does his thing. He's got one of the best poker faces in boxing. Literally, you never shows you any emotion. Whereas Prograis, you can see him, he gets frustrated. He starts doing things, headhunts, loads up on one big shot. That would tie into Haney. That would help Haney because that's what Haney has done his whole career. That's how he beats people. He frustrates them with what he does. And what he does well. The long, straight snap and jab. He's able to duck out. He throws his power punches while he's pulling his ass out. That's the reason why he doesn't really get much on it because he never really, puts all his weight up over his front foot. Prograis will, but he'll also put himself out of position because he loads up on those punches. He'll tend to go away from the body. He's a very emotional fighter. A lot of guys out when they start later in life, they tend to run their emotions. And Wilder was a great person to show that. I mean, remember he would still be swinging 3 minutes after the fight was called off. He's still punching over the ref's head and shit. But because he was so fucking jammed up, all motioned, all wound up and stuff. But yeah, so I think that would be Haney's game plan. He knows he can't slug with him, obviously. Christ, he wouldn't slug with the fucking dude he had 20 pounds on in 2 inches. He's not going to slug with Prograis, so he's going to do that. He's going to frustrate him. He's going to stick and move. And Prograis does have slow feet. Doesn't have very good feet. That's his biggest drawback in that fight, where Haney has much better feet and movement-wise. So I think that has all the earmarks of being a very boring fight. One of those fights where people will leave going, Haney won't gain any fans, and Prograis' stock will fall if it turns out the way Haney wants it to happen. But if Prograis does catches and puts his lights out, he's going to be a fucking hero to a lot of people like myself. I just think Haney's a usurper, and the quicker they take that fraud off those belts out of his hands, the better for me, because he doesn't deserve them, because he lost that fight. Full stop. I'm not even a fucking pussy put around with that, especially with all the tangibles, the size, the weight train, it's all that shit, and to still snatch it out of Lomachenko's hands. It's outrageous. So I don't like Haney. I don't like his father. I don't like the shit they say. I don't like his style. I find him boring. So in even the way he handles himself in public, waiting inside by the coat room, hoping there's enough people out front that he can try to make some Instagram story out of it. Champ is here. Yeah, nobody cares. But
Yeah, makes you
anyways,
wonder
yeah.
why-
So that's my thing on that. What's that?
Yeah, makes you wonder why some people root for him. It's weird, man. It's it's just people that relate to him, I guess. Before we continue, let's go to a couple of phone calls here. Let's go to, and don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to 240. 240, you on the air. 240. What's on your mind?
How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Just try to get closer to the mic a little bit. We can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Maybe better.
Yes, yes.
Just want to say, so where do we lay it with this David Haney thing? Because obviously he doesn't control the judges. He gets all the decisions. No one's happy about them. He gets the bad end of the stick. So when are we actually going to give this guy any type of credit?
I think you answered your own question there when he actually does something that makes people go, wow.
That's it. Yeah. When he
And what would
starts
that
winning
be?
fights
I'm saying,
without
what would that be?
help of the judges.
Well, I'll tell you what, I get the feeling he's probably going to do it against Regis Prograis. As that fight approaches, I'm really going to try to break it down and show
count on that, BDA. But
I mean,
yeah,
look. I'll say this. Prograis' power is real. I mean, you watch how he laid out some dude when he was at the PBC. I forget his name. The way he also hurt, what's his name? Relic to the body. He did drop Flanagan bad. And the way he dropped Cepeda too. I mean, he's become the first guy to stop him. But he's also 34 years of age now. Didn't look good against Zorrilla.
Yeah, he's getting long. He's getting long in the tooth, as they like to say, right? So.
A little bit, yeah. So
I
anyway,
mean, Haney lost the fight against Loma, but he did go 12 rounds. So I don't think Prograis will pose him much problems.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to think now. I mean,
maybe not. Look, I'm not convinced either way. I got to see the fight happen. To me, the most interesting part of that fight, because Haney doesn't add entertainment value. The only entertainment value he would add, in my opinion, is when he gets hurt. You know, I want to see what happens then, because he's not a power puncher.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't bring nothing of value, entertainment value, other than him and adversity. Unfortunately, that's on him. I can't help he's a shitty fighter in terms of high level. I'm not saying he's a shitty boxer. What I'm saying is high level, he lacks power. He lacks that entertainment value. That's on him. You know.
Yeah, he lacks.
There's no feeling fight. There's no feeling fight for him. He's a weak puncher. That's it. You know?
And he doesn't seem to be working on that power. And he doesn't seem to be working on that power either. So yeah.
When you're at war, bro, you tell the truth. You tell the truth. You say, "Listen, you're not a scary dude."
Let me ask the caller here. Caller, how do you see that fight happening?
I think like the previous guy that called said something about the age. A lot of people are emphasizing on the age of Prograis, and I think it's gonna maybe maybe Haney's big moment. Who knows? I don't know exactly how the fight goes. It's probably gonna hold a lot, but I can also see Haney catching him, and Prograis hasn't been looking good lately. I don't know.
I mean, lately we're talking about one fight, to be fair, but I mean, he's fighting a guy who can control the pace of the fight, and I think that's what really caused Prograis problems. Again, his power is real, but what happened? I think the question needs to be asked.
Also, I have a question for you guys. A lot of people don't seem to understand also that Haney may only just be getting better. I'm not saying this is a fact, but like kids like 25, like I don't think he's reached his ceiling yet as a boxer.
Maybe cutting 5 pounds less can bring him, some spark to his punches. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he's a better fighter because of that. So that is something that I will look forward to seeing.
Yeah, because
like
they said
Prograis is getting. Yeah, go ahead, BD.
At the weigh-in for the I forget which fight, he looked like that Mexican alien mummy that they just released a couple of days ago. I mean, that can't be good, man. Looking that bad, that's gotta affect you the next day. Even if you got 24 hours or even 36 hours, it's no good, not good. So recognize that thing has a point right there, man. Jumping up and no longer having to cut those extra 5 pounds. might be just what the doctor ordered. But anyway, listen, caller, we got to move on here to another call.
Wait. What do you guys think is next for Loma? What do you guys think should be next for Loma?
I think he should. You know what? We've said it before in the last show. I think he should just say fuck everybody. They keep giving him the short on the 35 years of age. I think he just said fuck it.
They're trying to use him as a gatekeeper. The question would be is, will Lomachenko allow that? Because Lomachenko's got to knock these dudes out. That's how he's going to win the fight. Oh, he's got to like dominate them 12-0. We got to be realistic. I love Loma. He can't do that. No, not to these big dudes. He can't do that. You know, maybe if he was still fighting in his own size, even at 35, 36, whatever age he is, maybe he could still do that to like guys his size. But when we start talking about dudes bigger than him, younger, you're asking for a little too much, and he's not going to win these fights. And eventually, he's going to slow down, and one of these big dudes, bigger, younger dudes, is going to fuck him up. That's what's going to end up happening.
There you go, man. All right, well, listen, caller, we got to move on here, but thank you for your call, and call back next time, all right? Take it easy out there.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to another phone call here. Let's go to, and don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. 510, you on the air, 510. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Jimmy? What's up, BDA? What's up, Recognize? What's up, Pete? It's Booty Juice. I just came to call back in. You know, waste your time, spout racism, bigotry, and just not talk about boxing, because that's essentially what I do, I guess, according to a lot of people outside the panel. I was going to comment this on the Zhang fight. I want to see. I think he'll win. I probably won't be able to watch it live. It's going to be it's a decent fight. Joyce, that's an interesting style too. It's like he does stand out, but I think he's too susceptible to just getting cracked. So I think he might not get an early stoppage, but maybe later in the fight, I think Weili Zhang's just more polished. So as a fighter overall, I was going to say this too. I forgot to mention last time I spoke about Cepeda. I like the dude. And what stuck out to me that I forgot to point out is like the pressure, and that's what I wanted to say. Like the pressure that he brought into the fight. That's how you put pressure on the dude, man. That's how you just drown him. That's why I kind of hate when people still talk about that fucking bum Benavidez. Like they say, oh, he drowns people with his style. He's overwhelming. He has cardio for days. Like, no, that's not how you do that. You know, if you couldn't do that to Caleb Plant, I hate talking about Caleb Plant too because he's dog shit too. But if you couldn't do that to Plant, then I mean, you can't speak on this dude being a monster, man. He's just fucking. It's irrelevant, like to what he does with his career to anything really. He's just not a good fighter, also. So yeah, Cepeda, good luck. You know, I want to see him fight a better competition, but if he can keep that up, I'm for sure be a fan. So he's like the pressure is just undeniable. So yeah, and then Nakatani, I like dude. He's a solid showing. That's another guy up and coming that I enjoy watching too. He put that guy down 3 times, and that, just sensational. I want to see him, fight better people. We'll see what happens with his career. And yeah, the last thing about the Devin Haney and Prograis, the only reason why I'm looking forward to that fight is mainly because he's gonna. I see an upset, honestly, but Prograis just has to play it where he can bring Haney. Either Devin comes to him or he comes to Devin, but I think Jimmy mentioned his frustration. I think, that might play into Prograis' hands also, because essentially what I see happening is like, let's say Prograis just get frustrated. Let's say he's already started early in the fight. I feel like the dude's just going to get close to him. And because Devin, honestly, even when he has been defensively, at this point, he's not really defensively responsible, but when he has shown that, I guess, in the ring, even then he still gets clipped, he still gets cracked. So, and we see him being wobbled. So I kind of see that Prograis cracks him. Devin might try to throw a straight punch, and then Prograis, throws one of his hooks, either or, and just cracks him on the way coming out, or going. He might try to cut an angle on him, and then that's how Prograis just catches him. And hopefully that's what happens, because again, Devin Haney is also another garbage fucking fighter. I don't know why people just don't say for what it is. A lot of these dudes, man, honestly, like Shakur, Devin, even Tank, man, Benavidez, these guys are just fucking Ameribums, dude. Like, just call for what it is. They're just garbage fucking fighters. They don't up their level in any sort of way. All they do is just talk shit. And I mean, that is, partly entertaining for some people, but you got to show it in the ring, man. So, but yeah, hopefully when that fight happens, hopefully I got Prograis on there. Like I said, hopefully just cracks his ass, puts him out, and yeah, man, that's it. Shout out to Recognize. I see you. You said what's up, in the chat here and there, mentioned my name. So what's up, dude?
I thought you were talking about you see him. I thought you meant you see him in person or something. I said, well, what the fuck? Like, who's following who now? The predators become the prey.
No, I see you in the chat, man. No,
okay.
He's on the other side of the country. I'm not going to fucking Florida.
I'm a huge
New York,
fan.
so
I'm a huge fan of Booty Juice. When it comes to this online boxing talk, I think that's the greatest name ever.
Yeah,
ever. Booty Juice.
Booty Juice. That I've said it before. That's got to be one of the best and most unique names that we've had in the 6 years that we've been on this YouTube platform. So shout out to you, Mr.
Imagine
Booty
being
Juice.
introduced to him and you're like, "Hey, I'm recognized." He's like, "Booty Juice."
Yeah,
just straight out, just Booty.
All right. Well, listen, Mr. Booty Juice. Thank you for your call and call back next. All right. Take it easy out there.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. Shout out to Mr. Booty Juice. Let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to 214. 214, you're on the air. 214. What's in your mind?
Basically, I came back to call. Well, the thing with Ramirez and what's his name, Barbosa, it looks like it's not coming. It looks like those guys are going to be stuck in limbo. The thing is, they canceled it for some reason. That Rick Merrigan guy, they were right that he botched the fight.
How did he do it? How did that
they were
happen?
supposed to fight for the IBF. Yeah, they were supposed to fight for the IBF, which is Sabril Matias, which is probably, some people think that, they don't want to fight Sabril Matias, which maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. So,
Well, that's disappointing to hear. That's disappointing. Yeah, that's disappointing to hear. I mean, those are the guys that they need a big fight. Well, Ramirez has had his share of big fights, but Barbosa's the guy that's waiting for his shot, and he's no spring chicken either. He's not like he's a 24-year-old prospect. So, yeah, that's disappointing to hear, man.
Yeah, and I went to. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. I went to go recheck my sources, and I about Bernardo Lopez. Oh, it doesn't seem that he's fighting, but it seems like what's the guy? Ramirez, Robesir Ramirez is fighting again in November. I thought Bernardo was fighting. My bad.
No,
but yeah,
I mean,
he should fight though. I heard that he.
I'll say we'll let you off the hook this time. Yeah. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, are you still there, caller? Hopefully didn't scare you too much.
He said that he hurt his hand. He hurt his hand in the fight against Joette.
Uh-huh. Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so I think. What's the guy? The guy that's on the show. The guy's name. He said Bernardo hurt his hand. So.
Okay.
I think he's going to be out for the rest of the year.
Hey, when did he hurt? Maybe I misheard you. But when did he hurt his hand? At which point in the fight?
He hurt it. I think he hurt his hand in the Gonzalez fight. I'm not really sure what round.
Interesting, because now that would explain a couple of things about why he sort of took the pedal off the metal there at some point. Interesting. All right, man. Good insight. Yeah.
You guys also know that Richardson Hitchens is also fighting.
Yeah,
I think he's a big threat to everybody at 140.
Well, how do you see the Cepeda fight going?
Oh man, I think Zepeda's going to try his best. He's going to rattle him with a couple of shots throughout the round. For the most part, he's going to get outboxed, I think.
Yeah, because I'll say this about Jose Cepeda is he's given a lot of people trouble. Other than Prograis, he couldn't give him any trouble. But most of the time, it seems like he's content with just win the 12 rounds. I gave this guy a tough fight. I don't know if he's got that resolve, that heart, the balls to really push it to the next level. So I think he'll just be content to, hey, listen, I gave this younger guy a very tough fight. Maybe a couple of people said I won, and that's he doesn't really push the issue that much. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No.
All right. Well, listen, good for you to call back here and clarify things. I didn't know that about the hurt hand, though, from Bernal Lopez, so that puts things into perspective a little bit. And catch you in the next one, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right. Okay.
All right, let's go to the phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. We got 210 calling in. 210, you're in the area. 210, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's going on?
Yes, 210, you're on the air.
Hello? Hello?
You're on the air. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Now, we can't, there's something, I don't think you're getting, I'm getting through here, 210. Sorry about that, man.
I can hear me now?
Ah, shit. I hung up. As soon as he said, can you hear me now? We could always hear you, caller. It's just you couldn't hear me, man. I want to talk about something here. Somebody posted this on the Discord that it's a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt, but that there's a lot of guys that have tested positive in the UK, and they're on silent bans, meaning they've been caught, but nobody knows about it. And then Memo Heredia, the PED guru, commented and saying there's a lot of guys in America too that are in the similar situation. I said, could that explain why a lot of guys aren't fighting? And first of all, is there such a thing as a silent ban? I know with USADA, that's sort of the case, right? Because I don't think they inform the state commission or whoever's in charge of sanctioning a fight. I think they just give the results to the managers and promoters. So is that possible that there's such a thing as silent bans?
I don't know, BD.
I mean, I don't know, but it's weird, man. It's weird that they would. Sometimes I do wonder, like, okay, are people not fighting because there's just not that many dates available, or what's going on here? And look, we know there is such a thing as the A sides rarely test positive for PEDs. Rarely. It's always on the opponent. You're thinking, what's going on? You expect me to believe that? And again, like a guy like Heredia has said it, and I think Victor Conte too. The people that are fabricating the PEDs are always going to be one step ahead of the people trying to catch them. So by the time they figure out how to catch this new substance, the other guys are moving on something else. So they're always going to be fabricating these new things that, I mean, there's stuff out there that they don't even have tests for. So
yeah. So this is the again, like, is it possible that there's a quiet ban or a quiet suspension? Of course, man. When you will do anything to hide the bullshit that they spew about, the virtue signaling that they do when it comes to, testing for making sure that everybody's on an even playing field, right? Listen, this is an even playing field. If, let's say, I'm going to fight BDA, and BDA says, I'm comfortable taking steroids, but we're both allowed to do it. Let's say we're both allowed to do it, but I'm not. And I say, I still want to fight him. That's a fair fight. Exactly. That is a fair fight. That's it. It doesn't matter when you square up on the fucking streets with somebody and you get into a fight with that person. You don't know what that person's on. You don't even know if that person has a weapon. But it's a fair fight once you square up and you're like, I don't give a fuck. Now, it only becomes unfair when one person is allowed to take and the other person is not. That is unfair. And they do that through weaponized drug testing. And that should be obvious to you fucking idiots that try to deny it. Okay? That is what's happening when there's been so many examples of that. Again, how is it that, like you said, BDA, how the fuck is it the A side never fails, right? But the B side does, or rarely fails. Okay, the biggest A side we've seen caught, and there's been others, but the one that actually got caught red-handed in recent memory is Canelo. Okay, that's the only one. You think he's the only one? Get the fuck out of here. What do you think? If Canelo's on anything, what do you think Anthony Joshua's on?
I mean, some of these dudes, I've said it before, some of these dudes, they start off their career and, they're
what do you think Wilder was taking for his last two fights against Fury? What do you think he was on? You think that was just orange juice and water and and protein shakes. No, man.
It's called hard work. That's what they call it. And by the way, recognize when you know what they call fighting BDA. You know what the slang in the streets is?
Oh,
death sentence. That's what it is. Death sentence. You bring everything.
Suicide. That's enough.
Hey, by the way, before we continue, we got more phone calls coming in here late in the show. We're almost done, but let's go to the phone calls here. Let's go to 979. 979, you're in the air. 979, what's on your mind?
Hello. What's up? UDA and everyone.
Yo, what's up, man?
So y'all talking about like Peds and shit in boxing or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Or PEDs?
Well, whatever you want to talk about, man. Whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I think... man, I feel like easily like like 90% of like the top boxers are on some sort of enhancers, man, because it's like was it recognized you just talking about it? Like how could one person, how can Canelo just be the only one, right? You know, like everybody's on that shit. So either I feel like it's like too far gone, you know? Like if they really start cracking down, dude, it'll probably kill the sport, dude. Like honestly, that's how I feel.
I agree with you about the 90%
performance enhancing drugs for a reason. As long as they're not, you know, they're okay with it. I don't care what these people are putting in their body. They're in a business. Okay, once you make it to this level of professional sports of any kind, your job, your number one job is to perform. How are we going to knock people for taking performance-enhancing drugs? It makes no sense. It's dumb. It's incoherent.
I'm honestly, I'm all for like if both guys are on Peds and shit. I was like, remember like UFC back in the day, them motherfuckers are juiced up, man. Like that shit. I really don't care if it's like that, where both guys are juiced to give. Fuck it. But if it's gonna be like this high horse shit where everyone's just trying to get on the high horse and get their 5 minutes saying that they're clean and shit, like come on.
And Paula, they've done this before in other sports, but I'm sure boxing probably falls into this, where at least I know in 2003, Major League Baseball had a secret testing to see how bad the situation was, and there were huge stars on those names, and some of those names still haven't come out, and there's other guys being fucking persecuted in the media for failing after that. But remember, in 2003, something like 105 players in baseball. I'm just using baseball because it correlates to all sports. They had 105 guys test positive. These were dudes that were probably taking shit that didn't even care to mask it, let alone, you know, the ones that you can mask and shit, you know? So how bad is the problem?
Yeah, caller, I agree with you.
Is it even a problem, though? Is it even really a problem?
I agree, caller. I agree with you too, man. When you said that 90%, I usually throw that figure around. Sometimes I say 95%, but when I say 95%, I'm referring to a top, like you said, the top fighters. They're all on something. Whether it's Tank Davis, Triple G, Canelo, those guys look. I mean, how do you get older and get more shredded and increase your muscle mass? Same thing with Mayweather. He looked better at 38 than he did at 34. So all these guys are on something.
Dude, when I saw Triple G, and I love that dude. You know, he's one of my favorite fighters. In the past 20 years, he's probably one of the best fighters. One of the most easiest fighters to root for, in my opinion. But I know he was on steroids, especially when he was like fighting that Japanese dude. I just forget his name, man. I'm drawing a blank.
Murata.
His recent fight. Recent fight. Okay. I was like, yo, but that's how I want him to be at 40. Yeah, you let him take some shit. Let the other guy take some shit, and let's see what happens.
Well, listen, caller, we're getting some feedback from your end, so we're going to move on to another phone call, but excellent point, and call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
All righty. See y'all later.
All right, man. Yeah, because I think he had the TV on. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 240. 240, you're on the air. 240, what's in your mind?
What's in my mind? I just don't see what the difference is between GGG and Lomachenko. I mean, when you guys see Lomachenko all shredded and when he comes out looking all good, nobody debates why he looks that good. Why the whole polemic around GGG?
No, we just said 95% of all tough fighters are on it, so put Lomachenko in that category.
Okay, good answer, I guess. You guys.
Wait. You don't think he's on something?
Who, Loma or GGG?
Loma.
I don't think Loma's on anything.
Come on, man.
I think Loma leads in the. I think Loma leads in the gym.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you don't
Would
spend
you be
all
shocked
those
that
years
he's on any PEDs? Would you be shocked? Remember, there's legal PEDs. They're still performance enhancing drugs. It doesn't matter if it's legal or illegal. It's still performance enhancing drugs. I'm gonna say, yeah. It's not a knock on him. I'm gonna say, I guarantee you, it's not all natural shit. Maybe it is natural, but what I'm saying is there's performance enhancing drugs he's taking. Whether it's legal or illegal, it doesn't matter.
Legal.
Right, but what I'm saying is it doesn't matter, caller. It doesn't matter. It's still helping his performance. That's what it's there for.
Well, look. The main point is this. When you see guys that start their career and they're early 20s, 21, 22, and 23, then by the time they're 25, 26, you see them packing on 16 pounds of muscle. Come on, man. They say that the average, if I don't know, man, it's crazy how jacked some of these guys are. And by the way, PEDs, people in the chat keep, they're not that very knowledgeable, or some people, I mean, not everybody, but they keep talking about PED steroids. It's not just like Recognize just said, PEDs can be anything. You can have EPO, which increases your oxygen intake. That improves your stamina. It's not a steroid, but that's a PED that's highly useful for boxers. So it can be any type of form, whether you're talking about steroids or just TRT to
Isn't that what?
Yes.
Isn't that what Jerome Miller was on?
Well, he was on the whole pharmacy. He had a fucking rack of every. I mean, I think he tested positive for everything in the market, man. I don't know, but anyway, yes, caller, go ahead, man. What was your point?
No, I think you concluded very well. I rest my case. I was just trying to understand why the big. Because when I look at GGG, he looks pretty shredded. Looks always in shape. When I look at Loma, it's kind of the same thing. I feel like they're from the same kind of school, so. I think, we ought to respect their work ethic instead of thinking that they're just drug cheats. Because I don't really see what they do besides just beating the gym.
I'm not saying that these guys cannot be actually getting shredded, but what I'm saying is, remember, they're millionaires. Or they're very well off. They got money where they can get the best supplements to get them in the best shape. Yeah, and I say,
I can see that.
That's your job. You should be doing that. That's your job. If you told me that you're not doing that, I'm gonna, unless you're just a fucking superhuman like BDA, shit. Like you should be working on the best. If your job is entertainment with your physicality, then you should be at your best. And if you need a little booster to do that, you should. And there shouldn't be no roadblocks, especially when you're talking about performance enhancing drugs. The very fact that they have testing tells me it's to rig competition. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I see it too, man.
That's the bottom line. It's to rig the competition. You can't take, but this guy could.
Wait. Did you just say, maybe I misheard you. Did you just call them a bunch of sodomites? Or maybe you call them sodomites. All right.
Also, don't forget,
brain, you have that ability.
Tyson Fury got caught as well. Tyson Fury got caught as well. So that's two big stars. That's Canelo and Fury. So yeah, that increases the odds for everybody else.
There you go, man. Well, listen, caller, we got to move on here, but thank you for your call and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of the show here. We got to keep it under 2 hours. Oh, sorry, 2 hours and 14 minutes. Yeah, because we got to go. But I'll say this, man. Yeah, most guys are on something. Yes, they work hard. Obviously, look, if you're going to be taking PEDs, you got to work harder to get the results. You're not just going to take those PEDs and lay down by the couch eating potato chips. You got to actually, put some work in it. So, but yeah, most of those guys are on it. And especially in the Olympics too. You don't think that the Olympic squadrons put some money into that? Most of these guys are investments. They're assets. So that they look, good for they make the country look good. Of course, all of these guys. I mean, look at Marion Jones and all those people that got caught with the PEDs. You think boxers are exempt from that? Like world-class amateur boxers? Come on.
When I met Manny Pacquiao PA in person, I was surprised by the size of his head. He looks like a Ninja Turtle. Maybe it's because all the punches he's taking. Or I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and by the way,
like a fucking teenage mutant Ninja Turtle.
Hey, maybe that's what he was taking. Maybe it's the AGH he was taking to pack on muscle or whatever as he was jumping up in weight.
The Memo shakes. No, the Ariza shakes.
Alex Ariza. And by the way, I recognize brought up the fact that some people need PEDs and others don't, and I think he referenced me. That's the funny thing. When I'm at the gym and after I perform and everything, and people always come up to me. There's always one person like, "Hey man, what are you on? Like, what's your cycle?" I go, I got to be humble about it. And I go, nah, man. Hard work, dedication. I mean, look, not everybody has my genetics, my talent, my ability, my good looks, my wit.
VDA.
Yeah.
VDA. Stop flattering yourself. Come on, man.
I'm just saying, look, pointing the reality out isn't necessarily always flattery, but I agree with you. I'm going to tread carefully here so that I don't, because it's one of those sins, right? Pride. Although even then, with sins too, I'm sin-free. Because like I've said before,
you have too much of it.
Well, listen, I got a direct line to Jesus Christ, so you work it out with him. But I'll say this, man. The PEDs thing, the other thing is most... Was that?
You said Jesus from the Bronx?
Jesus from the Bronx, yeah. The guy that owes you $20 from all the way back in '83. No, but I'll say this, man. The other way most of these guys justify their taking PEDs is, well, everyone else is doing it. That's probably what they tell themselves. It's, I got to do it too to keep up with the Joneses. The John Joneses. So it is what it is. I think we covered a lot of things here. We got to go. We got to keep this one relatively short. But anything else anybody want to say before we move on? Before we call it a night?
Another one they announced, Rocha versus El Gallo de Oro Santillan.
El
That's
Gallo
it.
de Oro.
Peace out on my end. Giovanni Santillan.
Giovanni Santillan. Okay. I'm going to look it up. I don't even know who that is. Or maybe I have seen
I'd like to add, if you don't mind, the fight I'm looking forward to. Inoue Marlon Tapalis, probably saying his name wrong. November, that's looking really more and more like it's going to come to fruition. So the undisputed, it would make him undisputed in the second weight class. And he's already said he's not jumping up right away either. A lot of people are speculating. In fact, he gave out 2 days ago, he gave a list of names that he would like to fight at 122. If anybody's interested, I can tell you what the names and right now what you think they are. What do you think of these names? Hold on. I just had them. Okay, right here. He says he would like to move to featherweight. He would like to fight Marlon Tapalis. Obviously, that would obviously unify the division. John Rio Casimiro, Louis Neri, and MJ Akamdalnoff. Butchering his name too, but those are the 4 guys that he would like to fight, which is the 4 best guys in that division now that Fulton has left. So it's not like, these guys like calling out takes the 4 top guys, whatever the division just stepped into. Well, it's actually the 5 top. He started with the best, and he would rate these guys below him, and he's like, I want all of them before he makes the move to 126, which will be his last move up, which will disappoint a lot of Tank fans because they're tweeting hard that he's ducking Tank, a guy who's 3 weight classes above him, which is hilarious considering that Tank won't fight. You're not calling for him to fight the champions of his division, but they want him to fight the fucking Asian dude 3 sizes below him, weight classes below him. It's just
Jimmy, I got an idea. I got a perfect idea. And anybody who disagrees with this on the Tank side, your hypocrisy will be coming out. Like, you just might as well just lay it on the table. why not Tank go to 126?
Yeah, exactly. Or why doesn't Tank go up to 168? Because that would be equivalent of him going up to one.
No, I'm
Because
saying
remember,
Jimmy, if he wants to fight,
exactly. And of course he won't. He won't go around even to 130. He won't go below 135.
Make the fight at 126. After all, you did a catch weight with Ryan Garcia, so there should be no excuses, man.
And that's just how Tank is. He always does that. He's kind of a petty dude. Like, I remember a few years back, in fact, somebody sent me the tweets. I was talking to him. I was like, I can't remember if he tweeted out, but he did. He wasn't impressed with Crawford, didn't find him anything special. You know, he doesn't think. In fact, he told Steve he's up his ass. Steve Kim, because somebody said, "Do you think it's ridiculous that some people have Tank, ranked higher than Inoue?" And he said, like very. And so, of course, Tank quote tweeted Steve Kim saying, "Shut your punk ass up," or "Shut your ass up," or something. I mean, not like, how about a little respect? Like, that's just obvious. It wasn't like, and of course, then it's all, well, Steve's a racist. But it's not that Steve's a racist. Anybody with any integrity, covering the sport would say the same thing. No, that's ridiculous. I mean, you get one guy who's a Reggie Belt who refuses to fight the best in his division against the guy who searches out the best of every division and annihilates them. You know what I mean? Won his first title in his 6th fight. He's had 23 professional fights. 20 of them have been world championship fights. It's fucking insane what this guy has accomplished in a short period of time. And for him to be physically, upset enough to, but that's how his fan base is. But so that's all I wanted to say about Inoue.
Well, we've got a last minute phone call here. Let's see who it is. Let's go to 212. 212, you're in the air. 212, what's in your mind?
It's me, BDA. It's JDA Joe.
What's up, Joe?
Just wanted to congratulate. What's up, buddy? What's up, Jimmy? What's up, Recognize, Gonzalo, and whoever else is on the panel. Just wanted to congratulate you on 35,000 subscribers now, over 35,000.
Good. Thanks, man.
So, you're coming a long way, and we'll get to 250, and the next thing you know, we got 1 million subscribers. So I just want to congratulate you guys. You guys do a lot of hard work, put in a lot of hard work, and, I just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work you guys put in.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate that, buddy. Although if we hit 200,000, I have to fire my agent.
You got it.
Yeah, I don't know if hitting 200,000 subscribers. I don't know if that's a good thing, because then you attract a lot of undesirables. But what else there, Joe? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think Joyce gets knocked out. By Zhang, or comes close to getting knocked out. I'm still sick over the Haney decision over Lomo. And Fury's a ducking bitch. He makes me sick too.
Now wait a minute.
Not taking the Usyk fight. How can you not take that fight to be undisputed? Makes me sick. I think he's afraid of Usyk.
It's gonna happen.
What's that?
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, it better.
Yeah, well then, if it never happens, then I agree. You can shit on the guy. Now, and by the way, I just want to make it clear, I don't appreciate the fact that it's been stalled. I will say that. I don't appreciate the fact that he has indeed been stalling the fight, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, he stalls it for some fucking, some bullshit UFC, it's a money grab. That's all it is.
Yo, brother,
the only fun thing about the whole thing is Tyson's training him. They're going to make a documentary about that.
Somebody in the chat saying, what hard work? Because you said, thanks for all your hard work. I'll admit, I don't have no hard work. But for this person in the chat saying, what hard work, LOL. Obviously, you never watched any of the other content that BDA and Bucho put out. That's not easy. you make some of the documentaries at BDA. They're fucking world class, and that's it's not easy, and he puts a lot of effort into that. So I take umbrage with that, thinking it's not hard work. I just wanted to add that, guys. Sorry.
That's it. Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy, man.
Yeah, and Jimmy, you do put, and Jimmy, you know what? You do put in hard work. You take your time out of your day, right? You could be doing other things. You take time out of your day, right? And you give us your expertise, and you get emotional about it. You put a lot of effort into what you're saying. So I take exception to the fact that you don't put hard work in. You do. You do put a lot of hard work. You put a lot of passion in what you do. And I'll tell you this right now. I'm pretty comfortable saying this. I bet 90% of the audience tunes in and likes to listen to Jimmy. Really pays attention when Jimmy speaks because Jimmy's very articulate. He knows the game of boxing. Well, he knows the fighting game, and he has a lot to say, and a lot of people look forward to what Jimmy has to say because we know he has valid points, and it's coming from an educated standpoint.
Hey, Jimmy,
you know,
what's right is right.
Jimmy, there's a reason why you have a lot of.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'll tell you right now, I'd say Gonzalo. All of them, everybody brings stuff, and Gonzalo.
Hey, Jimmy.
I mean, I learned from him.
Of course,
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
Of course,
I
appreciate that show, though.
Hey, Jimmy.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, Jimmy.
I appreciate that compliment, though.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy. What's right
Yeah,
is right.
and Gonzalo. Yeah,
listen,
what's right is right.
Listen,
No, but Gonzalo as well. The only reason why I'm bringing up Jimmy is because Jimmy just said, you know, I don't really put a lot of hard work, and I take exception to that. You do put a lot of hard work in, and like I said, including me, when Jimmy speaks, I know a lot of people are tuning in and really look forward to Jimmy's takes and to Jimmy's opinions after a fight or before a fight. Gonzalo obviously has great points of view as well. I look forward to when Gonzalo speaks as well. Same as Puccio, and obviously BDA as well.
Yeah, well, listen, I appreciate.
Is there anyone
that,
else I'm missing?
No, you got everybody.
Oh,
I'm uncomfortable.
What's his name? Coach.
Listen, I'm uncomfortable with the praise, and on top of that, we gotta go, man. I'm uncomfortable. Listen, I'm uncomfortable with the I'm uncomfortable with the praise, and we gotta go, man. So shout out to everybody. Whoever you want to
and recognize too. And recognize too. No, and recognize too. He has a lot of great points of view too.
All right. Well, shout out
to
you,
Joe.
I think honestly, it's a good flow.
So BDA, I don't appreciate you rushing me off this fucking platform
well, I'm sorry,
right now.
but you
all right?
Look. It's hard to tell a guy who's giving you praise to stop, but you hit on the points there. Everybody here on the panel, and I'll give thanks to the callers and like you and the viewers and the people that support this show and that enjoy listening to it. Yeah, you guys allow us to do this. So I give them credit, and I've always given the panelists and the people the credit. It wasn't exactly the most outrageous idea, but it's been working. So shout out to everybody. Everybody gets credit, even the people that dislike us. They keep us going as well.
Thank the Lord. And Jesus.
I want to thank my strength and conditioning coach. And listen.
Fuck you, Recognize. Fuck you, Recognize. I want to thank the Lord.
Listen, we're gonna go back to our team.
Thank my balls. How about that?
We're going to go back to talk to our team. We're going to be talking back to our team, see what makes sense. That's definitely a big fight down the line if it makes sense. So we'll make it happen. All right, listen, Joe, really appreciate the kind words. Always appreciate your support. And take it easy out there, all right, man? We got to go. Take it easy, man.
Peace, Joe.
All right, buddy.
Down the line.
See you guys later.
That BDA.
All right, man. Yeah, that was a shout out to Irish Andrew Ward. He's the guy that pointing that out. Well, listen, fellas, we do have to go. We've been on the air for. I was gonna keep it under 2 hours, and again, everything got out of hand here. We're 2 hours and a half. So, but we will be back to cover the Zhang fight or the aftermath. Maybe a show where we just take down predictions via phone calls. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But shout out to everybody out there. Don't forget to hit the like. Shout out to everybody donating with the super. Hey, hold on. Shout out to the Quags, who what's it say here? He reestablished his membership program. Shout out to the Quags, and he says, "Put me down for Zhang by 8th round TKO if you are writing it down." Well, there you go. He says Zhang by stoppage. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Alfredo Contreras, Shadow Combat, Official Scorecard Boxing, Larry Liston, Impala, hashtag CCD, Pete G, The Quacks, Timothy Figueroa, Super Sardonic, King Bucho in there. Everybody in the panel. I'm talking about Jimmy. I'm talking about Recognize. I'm talking about Gonzalo. Boxing Chief was here earlier as well. Shout out to Chief. Shout out to his wife, whose birthday was about 2 days ago. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Susair and Rider of the Storm, too.
Yes, Susair, yes. Shout out to them. Rider of the Storm. Shout out to those fellas. We'll catch you in the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.